Hey, everybody! We are live today. I got one of my youngins on tonight. My little girl, Destiny Faith, is on with me live. She's on with her mama tonight. We about to make it do what it do. I was waiting on one more person. Pastor Chris, if you can hear me, you're under the sound of my voice. I did see your call, but I just saw it when I was going live. So all you have to do is just click the link. And if you're not able to come in, just text me and let me know that you're able to come in. And all is well. All is well. We are here. We are here for the first night of the final installations of spiritual schizophrenia. It's going to be amazing. These last two installations, the Father has really been impressing some things upon me. And I really want to get some information to you that's going to change the trajectory of how you function in the kingdom. I want to put you on a kingdom path. I want to take you out of this mindset that you have been in that has potentially not been working. And the reason I can say that is because I'm a leader and I hear a lot of what you guys are saying to me. And I know that what you've been doing, it ain't working. Okay. A lot of you guys have been churched. And so you are still in the mode of getting unchurched so you can get into the kingdom. So you can understand kingdom and how it works and how the Father moves in his kingdom, because it's totally different than how men operate a man-made kingdom. It's completely different. So you have to be prepared. You have to be trained. You have to be given information that you need in order to become what it is you're going to become. If you remember correctly, it was the master that said to the children of Israel, "Good afternoon, everybody just coming on live. Come on in the room." It was the master that said to his disciples as he was going and selecting, he said, "Come on, go with me." He said, "Go with me." And I told y'all when we were going over this the last time that was not a suggestion. He was literally saying something that was almost a command. Come with me. I'm going to make you something. Let's go. Stop what you're doing and come on, let's go. And so in this season, there's going to be a lot of things. And, it's funny because when you're dealing with church people are real sensitive. They don't jive well with instructions often. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you have to understand that when it comes time for you to move, you need somebody that's going to say to you, "Listen, let's go. And let's go now." It's not a thing where we're just going to sit around and pacify and pat you on the back and all that. This is not that. We are in a crucial season and we must be prepared for war. We're in a crucial season and we've got to be prepared for war. If you're not prepared, then you're going to be a casualty of the war that you're in. But the Father has made every way for us. He has made every path straight for us as sons, if we would just simply follow the instructions that he has given us and follow the lead that he's put in place. That's really simple. It's really simple. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but I'm just going to touch on it just a little bit just because I said it. I want to bring it up really quickly because there are things that literally can bring a split in us. There are things that create this schizo, this place, schizophrenia or schizo as it is deemed in the scripture. There are things that create that dynamic, but one of the things that absolutely create a dynamic of schizo, and there are many, so we're not going to be exhaustive tonight. We may bring up some more of them tomorrow because I know one that I left off the list was leadership and I left off witchcraft, okay? But we want to deal with you first. See, we often like to point the finger at other things, but we don't really deal with ourselves. And that's the place that we need to be in before we deal with anything else or point the finger in any other direction. We need to deal with what's going on in the inner me. What's happening? Not the enemy outside of me, but the inner me, the enemy that's in me. What's going on there? And so we want to focus on that tonight. But I wanted to say this, that one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is leadership. And I'm going to talk about that just for a brief second, and we're going to come back to it again. Since I mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and dive into that. That wasn't a plan, but I'm going. Y'all cover me. I'm going in. Cover me, baby girl. I'm going in. Here's the thing, okay? The Father gives leadership for purpose, okay? He assigns a leader in a season for purpose of a people, okay? And so when he connects you to leadership, he has connected you to leadership so that you can receive his instructions from the leader as to what direction you should be going in. Now, we're going to get to it in a minute, but I'm going to touch on it just a little bit right now because rebellion, pride, all of these different things, I'm grown, all of this stuff sets in when you're dealing with people that are leading. And this happened with Moses. It happened with a bunch of other people, but there was also a fallout from that came to be. What I want to say before we get there, and I touch on it fully, is the fact that you may be hearing from the Father. I get that. However, if you've been called under a leader, then they are the people that are assigned to watch for your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. They are watching for that. And so when they are telling you something that the Father has given them to give to you, it is for the purpose of the protection of your soul. You understand what I'm saying? So if you don't have ears to hear what's being said, the master said it like this. He said, their own eyes they have covered, their own ears they have plugged. If they would uncover their ears, uncover their eyes, they would hear and be converted. The reason why a lot of people are suffering and dealing with a lot of different stuff and not seeing a manifestation as they should see it, as it's being spoken, is because y'all don't listen to the leaders that the Father has given you. And some of y'all just under bogus leaders. You're not under authentic leadership. You're under leadership that is pimping you, prostituting you, and taking things from you. And all of that is your responsibility. You understand what I'm saying? All of that is your responsibility to go to the Father and identify the tribe that he has called you to. And then when you get to the tribe, to do the part that he's given you to do. Not to fight with the leader, not to oppose the leader every time they say something. You know, well, I'm hearing that the Father is saying, if you go this way, if you go that way. Oh, well, you know, I'm not feeling that. Oh, you know, I'm not going that way. Oh, well, you know, okay. And then circles and circles and circles. And some of y'all understand what I'm saying because we've been around this mountain long enough. And it always comes back around. So at the point you keep coming back around to something and you realize, okay, he or she was right. Pride should be laid to the side. And then you should understand, as they are following the Mashiach, as they are following the way that the master established, I should be following them. Not trying, you don't have to figure this out because there are things that you can just simply hear from leadership and already know a direction. And the Father will definitely settle you in your heart, settle you in your spirit. But obedience is a priority in this season. I don't know why he had me go, you know, I just felt like diving in there before we even get where we're going, okay? Obedience is crucial. And so just like a husband and a wife, if you connected to somebody you can't submit to, you ain't got no business, okay? Zero business connecting to them for any purpose, because if you cannot identify that you can submit to them, this goes for husbands and wives, and you're going to hear a lot of that tonight because I'm a relational leader, okay? And I believe in what the Father created for the purpose of the world seeing his love that he has for his sons and daughters. That's what the marital union is all about, okay? So tonight, spiritual schizophrenia, we're on the last session, the second to the last session, and tonight we're talking about Babylon, the mother of spiritual confusion. Now, Babylon is a topic that me and this baby talked about when she was a lot younger. We talked about the spirit of confusion, confusion by mixing. Okay, that's what Babel is. Babel is confusion by mixing. How it became Babylon was because the Father confounded the languages. And so it went from Babel as a title of a place to something that occurred in the place, Babylon. Okay, and we're going to talk about how to come out of her, how to come out of Mystery Babylon, because it's a command that we were given. Come out of her. And I know you might say, well, that was just that one particular place. No, this is throughout the scripture, you see people coming out. The Father is pulling people out of familiar places. He's pulling people out of their families. He's pulling people out of their tribes, out of their nations. He's pulling people out of all kinds of places because he wanted to establish a people that he could have in the earth as a representation of who he is. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we were talking earlier, and I'm going to break off in a minute because we're going to pray really quickly before we get into it. But we were talking earlier, and what we were talking about kind of lends to the leadership thing I was talking about. When the prayer line was absolutely hot. Now, I shut the prayer line down in January of this year for a season because the Father told me to do so, because it's really time for other people to push forward or to come forward. As an apostle, I cannot run a prayer line every day. I can't do that for the rest of my life. So the people that are under my care, under my guidance, they have to be given a space. And this is what the master did. He said, I'm going away so that you'll have a place. I'm going away so that you can do the work. You know, people thought that there was building in heaven, and ain't nobody building no mansions. There's no construction in heaven. I told y'all that the other day. There's no construction. That's not what the conversation was about. But that's why a lot of people want to get out of here, because they don't understand this is what was given to us. There's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, and the Father and the Son are going to come and dwell in the midst of us here in the new earth, okay? And so don't try to get off the rock. Learn how to live on the rock. You understand what I'm saying? But we were talking earlier, and we're going to hit on all of these points again, but I just want to bring you in because we were having such a powerful conversation earlier about that prayer line, and in that time, that prayer line. And I think what a lot of people miss, because I'm going to deal with the split, because when people are under the impression of false ideologies and false concepts, like people are always looking to try to run to the thing that the world is saying, or that it looks or appears that that's the new hot thing. That's the thing that we should be doing because it's a lot of people on the live, or it's a lot of people. Baby, let me tell you something. That is no indication that the Father is in it. It is no indication. Tell me what we were talking about earlier about the line. What was going on the line? Because it was going on my Periscope lives back in the day too. And y'all can expect manifestation. I'm talking about not later, but on the live. So if you got people that are sick, that are infirm, that are dealing with some mental issues, or whatever the situation is, you need to get them on this live, because I did not come to play with any spirit tonight. I am fully back into my place. I am fully back into who I am. And I went through some seasons where the Father was doing some things in me to bring me back to full force, to bring me back to a place. Hey, brother, I see my brother Apostle Clarence is on. Talk to me about what was going on. Since people think that, you know, you're supposed to go and find what's the most popular, and that's how you identify your tribe. That's how you do that. Talk to me about what was going on.
It was definitely a lot of healing. It was a lot of healing going on, and it was instant. People were being delivered. People were crying online, or on the prayer call. People were
crying out.
Testimony.
Every day it was testimony.
Like instant testimony.
And instant ones.
Saying, oh no, I just was delivered from this just now. Like I feel like I don't have the desire to, or I can now move on from this situation that I've been holding on to.
Yes.
Just different things like that. And it was real proof, like real change. Like you could see these people change.
It was not what we're looking at today. And it's funny. I want to just hold up for 1 second, because the Father was bringing, before we got to this place, the Father kept bringing stuff across my desk. I promise you, I don't go look for this stuff. I spend a lot of time in study. Okay, I spent a lot of time reading books and listening to a lot of different things. And so on this journey of study and all the things I was doing, something kept coming across my desk. And the Father was impressing upon me, no, there is an urgency in the spirit right now, because there is a launch of diabolic forces in the earth. There was an opening that happened just this week. I'm not saying this because I saw it. No. There was an opening. He verified the opening. He said, I want you to see what is happening in the earth. And he kept dropping things. He kept bringing things across my desk. It's a lot of feedback you're saying. I'm wondering, do you have headphones, Sweet Pea? If you don't worry about it.
I don't think what I could do is I can mute.
Okay, mute when I'm talking, and I'll try to mute when you're talking. Okay. So he was bringing quite a few things across my desk. I mean, it was almost overwhelming. And if you ever need to cut your camera off because there's other things going in your background, you just press that little camera down there to stop cam, and then you can come back to the camera if you need to. Don't do it if you don't have to. But a lot of things coming across my desk, and it was really blowing my mind. It was really blowing my mind, because it was a inundation of false leadership. I was just inundated with these people who are in leadership positions, and the Father just kept bringing these things across my desk, and I was like, what is this? He said there was an opening. Okay? And so now what I loved about this is that there are a lot of people that were coming against the opening. I noticed a lot of people coming against this thing, but I also noticed a lot of ignorance dealing with coming against these things. So like the people that are coming against this force, this diabolic nature that's happening, they are accurate in identifying that it is false. However, they are ignorant of what they need to know in order to do effectively what they're doing. So they're spouting off things, and it comes across more as a rant, and they are accurate. But there are things that they are not accurate on. There are areas where they are absolutely wrong, and where diabolic nature did say something true, but that's not the point. The point is that it is false. And then pointing out the falsity. See, we got to be really careful because we live in an age not only where there's an opening and things are coming through that opening, and false leadership and false prophets and all these false things are coming forward, but then we got the dynamic of church mindset that says we shouldn't expose people. I seen so much stuff. I saw so much stuff this week. It blew my mind. People that were posting up, all these different people that were in sex scandals with kids and all kind of stuff. And people that were like, well, if I knew that, I would have never accepted the invitation, or I would have never gone over there. But because we play this game, in the church plays this game, okay, and I pray that y'all get delivered from this foolishness on this live tonight, because it's the same mentality that we grew up in our culture. What happens in this house stays in this house. Yes, if it is right, it should stay in the house. But if there's something wrong, we need to have a conversation. And if we need to bring somebody else into this conversation, then we need to do that. When people are doing what they're doing out in the open, they need to be dealt with out in the open. When you start dealing with people's kids or children, when you start touching the sons of God, when you start dealing with people inappropriately and not doing what is authorized concerning the kingdom, you are needing to be exposed. The word says, have nothing to do with the works of darkness, but rather expose them. So I hear what y'all saying, and I do not take delight in anybody's fall, but the wicked, I will always be delighted that the wicked their reign come to an end. The word says that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But it's the exact opposite when the wicked are in authority. Okay, go back. I don't know how that came up, but go ahead, go back. What were you saying? You were talking about.
We were just talking about the prayer call, the prayer line, and things were manifesting in people's lives. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to pray in the spirit, I'm going to lay hands on you, you go back, right back out, go back to what you're doing, and can I talk? Can I talk and be honest? To be honest, a lot of people don't understand, and it's I'm not even going to say, I'm not trying to bash the church, I'm just going to speak because it needs to be said. The thing is with churches, people just think, oh, I can go to church, I can shout, do all of that, and then I go right back to what I'm doing. There is no anointing happening right now in the church that I'm seeing. It's just a bunch of, what do you call it, hula, whatever you want to call it. It's a circus.
It's a sideshow. Absolutely,
it's a circus. And at the end of the day, what people need to understand is, by you going to the church, it's a lot of demons being transferred from one person to the next person. All that shouting and all of that,
and all of that laying hands,
and
all of the laying hands. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. We'll come to that. It's a
place
to lay hands on somebody.
The point that I was making, it was a point that I was trying to make, because basing off of something that you were saying. It was anointing on the prayer call. People's lives were being changed. What the church is missing is, stop pointing your finger. We were also talking earlier about he who is without sin cast the first stone. And at the end of the day, it's just like church folks think they could just throw stuff at people and not deal with their own things, like not holding themselves accountable for things, trying to change people and you not changed. You know what I'm saying? Come correct. Like you were saying, come home.
Listen, that's a struggle for a lot of leaders, because I'm hearing and have been hearing over the years, mute real quick so it's no feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing over the years and have been hearing this majority of my life, this excuse about nobody's perfect. The Father chose imperfect people to perfect them. You understand what I'm saying? You're supposed to be being perfected. First of all, perfection is maturity, okay? It's not that you will never make a mistake again as long as you live. That's not perfection. That's not the perfection that the word is even talking about. It's talking about maturity. And in maturity, when you get corrected, you don't make the same mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? You don't do the same offenses. In maturity, as a child, you may repeat the same offenses until you get the right chastisement. Now, if you're not being dealt with as a child, then you're going to keep repeating something. But the Father said this, I chasten those I love. So as a matured person, as you're maturing and the Father's putting that enforcing those things upon you to say, listen, you got to correct your way. You're supposed to be learning something from the error of your way. David said it was good that I was afflicted, that I might learn. You know, there's something that needs to be learned in affliction. Not you just keep going through and you keep being afflicted. You just keep going through and you keep cycling through the same stuff. No, you got to look at yourself at some point and say, you know what? I've been around this mountain long enough. I have been here twice. I have been here 3 times. I need to not go around this anymore. This is not what I'm getting ready to do again. I'm not doing this way again. I learned too much the last time to repeat this and then cry out. Now, it doesn't mean that the Father won't respond, but I will say this. There are a lot of sides of the Father that we don't talk about. There are a lot of sides of him people are not discussing. And because we like to lean into the love of God all the time, we don't understand the judgment or the justice of God. We like to lean into that love piece. We like to lean into that mercy piece. And yes, he is loving and he is merciful and he is gracious and he is kind. He is all of that. But you can also piss him off. Okay? After he has revealed himself to you and keep proving himself to you, and you keep doubting him, keep not giving him credit, you fall into this place where you would rather be depressed, you would rather complain, you would rather, be in this place where you have no faith. After he has proven himself, you have to learn how to find. See, that's the schizo. That's that split. There are things that cause that splitting, and we're going to talk about it. But that's that split where you are split, and so you don't have what you need in a split for the wholeness that you need to walk in. Once that split happens, it has to be repaired, or else you can't function properly. You cannot function properly and be split. You can't. You halting between 2 opinions, you got to choose a side. Even after the split, you got to pick a side. You got to stand on this side or that. It's no middle ground. And we've been living life like there's a middle ground. Church teaches you to lie about where you're at, because when you come in and people ask you, how are you? And you just say, I'm blessed, and you can't talk to nobody because people don't know how to shut up and allow somebody to communicate with them what's going on with them because it's too much conversations that shouldn't be being had. I'm just saying, that's not an outlet for people. So that's why people ain't trying to fool with that. It's not an outlet. I don't care how many times y'all try to push this. The kingdom and the church are 2 different things. And if I was not pressed in this from a young child, I was born and raised in the church, so I could talk about you Negroes. I could talk about y'all because I didn't just come from the outside talking crap. I came from the inside. I was like Moshe. I was raised in Egypt, honey. I was raised under the great house. Okay? Under different facets of the great house. Okay? And I know what I walked through. I know where my deliverance came from. My deliverance didn't come out the church. It did not. It came out of my desire to know the Father And I'm telling you, as an individual, your deliverance is not going to come out of the building. It's going to come first out of your desire to know him. And when you begin to desire, the world has this saying. It's a very simple saying. If y'all can't understand scripture, maybe you can understand this. When the student is ready, the teacher shows up. That's just how it works. Even in spiritual things. When the student is ready, when you get in that place where you are hungry, the word says, those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, not for church, not for the next revival. By the way, revival is an old technology. So if y'all still talking about revival, you're operating on old technology. I told you I wasn't come to play tonight. So I don't make any apologies for what I'm saying. Y'all are operating under old technology, expecting something new to happen. And I'm telling you, it's not going to happen that way. We are in the season of uprisings. We're not in the seasons of revival. You can tell by people's conversation where they are and what they're doing. Whether the kingdom has come or whether they're operating under some man-made situation, some man-made kingdom, some false idea. Okay? I'm going to let you have the floor again, and then I'm going to pray.
No, Doc, I was listening. I was, keep talking. I was listening. I was listening. I honestly was taking it in as you were speaking.
Okay, well, I'll keep talking.
Only thing I was going to go off of is what we were talking about earlier, but you had kind of went off into something different, so I'm just listening.
We're going to come back to that because it's in my notes. We're going to come back to it because we got a lot of territory to cover tonight, so I hope you got time because I told y'all I didn't come to play, I came to stay. So if I'm on here till 11 o'clock tonight, that's what I'll be because there are things that must be discussed. There are things that must be communicated. We are in an hour of deliverance. And in this hour of deliverance, you need the information for this deliverance. Deliverance doesn't just happen. It doesn't just fall out of the sky. Okay? It comes as a result of information. Transformation is a result of information. Proper information. If you have the right information, there will be no transformation. And in that information, there then becomes a revelation. That's the line, that's the chain of manifestation right there. You have information, then you have revelation, and then you have transformation. Okay? And those three things in that order is how it works. All right. So I'll be here tonight. I'll be here. All right. I'll be here. I will answer questions tonight as we're talking. I'll open up the line. If you got questions, you can put questions in the box down there between me and this baby. We're going to be able to keep up with your questions and all of that, all of the good stuff. And if it's really serious, then put it in my box. You know, if you want to remain anonymous, then go ahead and put it in my box on Facebook. You know, just DM me, okay? And we can work it out that way, and I'll still answer it. Nobody will have to know who it is. I won't call out your name, okay? Let's pray real quick, because I need to do that. I need to do that tonight. Father, we just give you praise and honor tonight for what you're calling us to do, for what you have desired for your people, because this is not about my desire. This is about your desire. You know, I would just as soon sit here and just study and consume things and, you know, prepare for other things. But this is your desire. This was your thing. This is your desire. So I have no doubt in my mind, because it's your appointment, and I've come to this appointment. My baby has come to this appointment. Those that are connected to this live have come to this appointment. Those that will sit after the fact have come to this appointment. As we are come, Father, we have no doubt in our mind that you will move. We have no doubt in our mind that you are present and that you are ready to make the transactions that are necessary for your people's needs to be met. Whatever it is that they are standing in need of tonight, we thank you for your position and your power tonight. We know where you are seated. We know what your authority is. And we give you praise for where you are seated and for the power of that seat. We thank you tonight, Father. You are our Father. You're not just my Father. You are collectively our Father. And so we are here. And as your word declares, where two or three, we've got more than two or three on here, are gathered, that you would be in the midst of them, Father, to make good whatever the conversation is, whatever the need is that's needing to be met. You said you would make it good. you would allow your power to be present in that hour to begin to shift, to begin to change, to begin to move on the behalf of your people. And I feel the Holy Ghost. He's already moving in the room. Father, tonight, as you were talking to me, you began to talk to me about this orphan spirit. And Father, we thank you right now that the spirit of the orphan is being broken off of the lives of the people. There are too many people behaving in the manner of orphans. There are too many people behaving as if you are not a king, as if you don't own everything, as if you are not already in a seated position of authority and in charge of the things that you have charge of. Of course, you've given us charge of the earth, and that's a confusion that we have. But Father, we thank you tonight that we are leaving the place of orphan mindset. You have declared to us that we are not abandoned. You are declaring to us even now that we are not abandoned. Yes, we may be going through some things. Yes, we may have gone through some things, but you have always been an ever-present help in the time of trouble, a very present help. When trouble is there, you are very present. This is your word. We send out a clarion call to sons right now regarding the capture of every spirit of rejection. Yeah, there's a spirit of rejection that a lot of you are operating in. And I come against the spirit of rejection now. But the way that I'm going to come at the spirit of rejection tonight is I'm going to make you responsible for something tonight. Because I need you to understand that when the kingdom comes, you have to have a response. That is responsibility, the ability to respond. We come against the spirit of rejection. And I want you tonight as a son to put the spirit of rejection, the spirit of abandonment, the spirit of the orphan under house arrest. That's your right tonight. Put it under house arrest. The word says that we're to bring every thought into captivity. Anything that's coming through your mind, you need to take the time to arrest it first. Don't let it start speaking to you first. Don't let it start unloading and unpacking because you don't know where the thought is coming from. You need to arrest it first and then start interrogating the thing that's coming to your mind. I'm making you responsible tonight. I'm giving you the tools to begin to do what you need to do on a daily basis concerning what's going on in your heart, what's going on in your mind. Take captive tonight and interrogate those thoughts. The word says that you're to bring it into the obedience of the master. Now, what does that mean? It means that he showed us a way. He's already been the way. He's already been the truth. And he's already showed us what life looks like. So now you're to bring that thing into captivity and interrogate it based on what the master has showed you. Based on the master's way. That's what you're to interrogate that thing with. I want you to know tonight, you are not an imposter. It's a lot of conversations about imposter syndrome. I'm going to tell you something. We're not getting ready to lend ourselves to these things. You are not an imposter. You were born to inherit the kingdom. I want you to know you were born to inherit the kingdom and all of the spiritual treasures that are part of the kingdom of Yah in the earth. Not when you die, not in the sweet by and by, not when we all get to the other side, as people so think, right? But right now, you were born to inherit the treasures that the Father has made available through his kingdom in this life and in the life to come. I want you to know something. Manifestation is simply the finished outcome of being a man. Did you hear what I said? I'm making manifestation real simple for you. It's your right. You inherited the ability to manifest just because you're a man. You see the beginning of the word man, that effest, that manifest, that's your right to begin to create. It's your right to produce something. That's what manifestation is. So if you don't like what you've been producing, identify the man that you've become. And let's make the adjustment. Let's make the adjustment through his word. Let's make the adjustment through what he's speaking, through what he's saying. Not through your own ideas, not through your own desires, but through what his desire is, because the purpose that he gave you is about him. The person that you are is because of the purpose that he gave. Not because of what you can conjure up in your own mind, but because of the purpose that he gave is the reason why you are a person. We thank you for divine outcomes right now. Thank you for the divine outcomes that you've engineered for our lives. I want you to know that there is no greater engineer besides our God. He was the first engineer that ever existed. Do you understand what I'm saying? And now we are engineers because of who he is. He made us like him. He carved us out. We are like him. Our image is his. Our likeness is his, is as his is. So you are an engineer. I need you to begin to identify what the Father is speaking to you to engineer, because it's a part of your purpose. You have been purposed to be an engineer, but what should you be engineering in your life? You got something to say on that?
This is so good. This is really good. It's popping over my phone.
I don't know why is it doing that.
It's really, I don't know what's going on, but I said I was going to go out and come back in. Yeah.
Do that. I'll let you back in. Okay. Do you have a lot of windows open?
No.
No, I'm talking about your computer windows. I'm talking about your computer windows. Do you have any software open? If your recording software is up right now, that's probably what the issue is. It's pulling too much power.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, if you shut that software off, then you're going to have the power that you need to do what you're doing.
Okay, I'm going to go out and come back in and make sure everything is.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Are y'all with me tonight? Are you still here with me? Are you hearing what I'm saying? We're going to get to what we're going to get to tonight. I told you I came here to stay. I didn't come here to play. I'll be here for a minute. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to say what I need to say tonight. Between tonight and tomorrow, y'all might have 3 or 4 hours of stuff to look at, but I'm going to say what I need to say. And maybe I'll go back and do introduction and all. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not promising that, but I'm just telling you it could be a possibility that I go back and label it so you can know how to jump around to get to what you got to get to. But Father, thank you for being the Father that you are and for being adamant about restoring our souls, the souls of your people. Thank you for being adamant about dealing with us in our mind, in our will, in our emotion. We thank you for being that kind of God that is concerned about the souls of your people. We know you get a bad rap because anytime people don't get their way, they point the finger. Anytime people don't get their way, they become frustrated and start fussing and throw tantrums like little children. But Father, you are still who you are, and you yet remain the good God that you are. The good Father. You're a good Father. That's who you are. And all of your judgments are accurate. That's something me and the baby was talking about, my daughter was talking about earlier as well. So I'm waiting on her to come back on because I want her to talk about this. We're going to tap in because it's going to come up again, but we're going to tap in while we're at it, because the truth of the matter is a lot of people are so frustrated. Why do bad things happen to good people? First of all, you don't know how good anybody is. The only person you can be responsible for is you. Okay? You don't know what's going on in their life. And we're going to talk about Job a little bit tonight because a lot of people don't see where Job missed some things, where Job opened himself up. He didn't necessarily sin, but he opened himself up to be tried. He opened himself up to be tested. So it was an opportunity. It was a testing out, okay? Because he opened himself up. All right? Tonight you're going to be recalibrated. And that calibration is going to take place in you so that we can be accurately and divinely exacting what the Father has called us to in this season. You understand? We'll have exact measurements. We'll have exact directions on what he's calling us to. There will be no confusion in this season as to what you're being called to do, because you're being divinely recalibrated in this season, and that calibration is going to lend you to exacting and accurate information. Let me see. Did she come back on? Yeah, it's going to lend you to be accurate in your estimations in this season. A lot of people have not been accurate in their estimations. It's simply because you've got a bunch of other things going on and you're not focused on the task at hand. There's an order. There are priorities that need to be set in this season so that you are in the proper position to receive what the Spirit of the Father is saying to you. What he's saying to you, you have to be able to hear it. Hallelujah. I'm trying to give her a chance to get in here. Recalibration in every part. I'm speaking that to you tonight. Recalibration in every part of every man and woman that is under the sound of my voice and under the power of this word tonight. As the good shepherd, Father, you've given us the reset. Yeah, you've given us the reset and we receive it. Somebody put in the comment section, I receive it. Receive the reset tonight. He's already activating some things. That's why I'm taking my time. I'm not getting ready to rush through this conversation tonight. I'm going to take my time tonight. I'm not going to rush. I'm going to slow myself down tonight. And I'm going to take my time. Let me re-invite her. Maybe her invitation got old. Let's see here. Y'all give me a second. I'm gonna take my time. Put in the comment section, I receive it. I receive it. Hallelujah. I receive it. Yep, put it in there. Thank you, Father. I receive it. I receive it tonight. Absolutely. Come on, put it in the comment section. Receive this word tonight. Receive what the Father is doing in you and through you and for you. Hallelujah. Receive it tonight. Receive it tonight. We were talking about this earlier, and the truth of the matter is, we were saying this earlier, and it's just a matter of fact. A lot of times while people are not receiving things, a lot of times while people their growth is stunted and all kinds of things are preventing them from being in that place of receipt is because y'all don't listen. You don't listen. I was divinely sent here to do what I'm doing. I'm not here just because I feel like talking. I could call my child and just have this conversation. I could just call Elder Vicky. I could just call. She know I do this all the time. When I'm on the phone, we have whole conversations about stuff. So much so that I'd be like, hold on. I'm going to need to put you on this laptop so I can record what's being discussed because I need to go back and listen to this. Listen, I don't need a live to do what I do. I do this every day. This is every day, all day for me. Anybody that's in conversation, communication, relationship with me can tell you this is all day. This is every day. I don't need a live for this. Okay? I have these conversations every day. Every day. All right? So when someone comes on a live, if you're subjecting yourself to that, which means you're making yourself subject to a word, that's not a negative thing. That means you trust something. Thank you, Elder, for verifying 24/7. That means you are subjecting yourself, bringing yourself under or submitting to what the Father is speaking through somebody else. So how dare you get on somebody's live and they say something that the Father gave them to say to you, say, I receive it, and you don't say nothing, but you on the live. You outside the room listening instead of inside the room, as if you're going to receive it properly, being outside the room. You can't receive something that you ain't connected to. So if you're not connected, I'm not talking to the people that are watching it after the fact. Because even if you're watching it after the fact, you can type, I receive it. You can do that. I told y'all, I'm in another place. I'm not in this place where I'm going to pacify people's crap anymore. I'm not going to pacify your stuff. I know what I'm carrying. You understand what I'm saying? I'm pregnant all the time. I know what I'm carrying. And so I no longer am going to allow you to make me question what I'm carrying. If you miss what I'm carrying, it's because you didn't put yourself in a position to receive it. And that's not my problem. That is your problem, my friends. That is your problem. So those that understand the words that are coming out of my mouth as an apostle of the Most High in his kingdom, and I, under his authority, say something to you, that's not because I feel like telling you what to do. It's because he gave me words to say to you, to position you under the spout where that blessing is coming out of. I didn't ask you for an offering. Y'all are quick. If people say, sow into this word, or sow into this, and you're going to see manifestation. All I told you to do was say, I receive it. So y'all don't believe in the simplicity of the kingdom. You need somebody to jerk you around. You need somebody to tell you, you need to give me $50 for this word that I'm giving you, and then you're going to see manifestation. I told you, type in the comment section, I receive it. Simple. It's not difficult. So if you missed the move, it's because you didn't honor what was given to you to do in the moment. You know how many times people miss the moment? We could go in on this, and we're going to come back to it again, because I got all kinds of stuff in these notes, and I'm hitting all these points. I'm not leaving here without hitting the point, because your deliverance is my business tonight. That's my business tonight, okay? Your deliverance, your freedom is my business. He made it my business, so I got to be here. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, okay? The thing that we were talking about earlier about dishonor, right? And we're going to come to it. We're going to say it a little bit more. We're going to talk about it some more. But the truth of the matter is, the reason why so many people are missing you're missing so many moments just because you don't know how to honor. It's not just honorable for you to be on the broadcast. It's honorable for you to honor by following the instructions that are given. But y'all miss so many moments. You know, husbands miss moments. Wives miss moments. We're going to talk about this. But y'all are missing moments with the Father because you either feel like, and we're going to talk about this because it's a whole bunch of myths that people have surrounding spiritual things. Oh, well, I don't believe that the Father speaks to me. You go, it's from one extreme to the other. Literally. You got this extreme of the prism over here where people say, I don't believe I hear from him. I don't think he talked to me. And then you got the extreme over here where people feel like, oh, he talked to me, so I don't need to hear from you. Both of y'all losing it. You understand? Both of y'all have lost it. He's always communicating. Always. It's just that you have not identified how he communicates, or you don't like what he's saying. You don't like who he's saying it through. And you don't like what he said because you don't want to do that. It's plain and simple. It's not difficult. But you're missing moments because there are things, there's breakthrough that could have happened for you a long time ago when he showed up with the instruction. Blessings to you, Reginald. I love you, brother. When he showed up with the instruction, when he first sent the person that said to you something specific, and you said, oh no, I don't receive that. I don't want to do that. Oh no, I don't get down like that. Or I don't believe that. Or I don't. Okay. You missed a moment. That was your moment to get in. That was your moment to be blessed. It was your moment to receive. It was your moment to reap. But you missed the harvest and things got stale and the crop failed because you wasn't in a position to receive. He sent you help for the harvest and you denied the help, and there's no way you was going to get the harvest by yourself. Do you know that if Peter and those fellas had not gone out on the water like the master told them, they would have never caught those fish? But even more so than that, if they didn't have the proper relationships, they still would have lost the catch because it was too much for them to pull in. Y'all in this Lone Ranger stuff, it's got to stop. This Lone Ranger thing y'all got going on, where you feel like, well, I just wish I could do it by myself. There's no such monkey. There's no such beast. There's no such thing. You're not going to do it by yourself. You are not born into the world all by yourself. Therefore, as long as you're alive and a person, you're going to need people. You're missing moments because you don't want to hear what's being said. You don't like it. It's challenging you. It's forcing you into another position. Guess what? If you stay in the same position you've been in, where you've been oppressed, depressed, in bondage, then you're going to remain in that same position. He's going to send you somebody to pull you out. And if you're struggling, let me tell you a word that the Father gave me maybe about 2 weeks ago. He gave me this word. He said, in this season, this is not the season where you're going to struggle, where you're going to wrestle with people to bring them out. I'm not wrestling with y'all. I'm not doing that. Not in this season, because I know what I'm carrying. I'm not getting ready to wrestle with you. If I'm trying to pull you out of the water and you flailing and I'm about to go under, one of us is about to go, but it ain't going to be me because I got work to do. And I value what I'm called to. Okay? If I'm trying to pull you out the fire and you trying to pull me in, you about to be toast because I'm not holding on. Okay? I'm about to let you loose. I'm about to cut you loose. Okay? Because I know what he sent me to do. I know the help that I am on every level. So if you're not in a position to receive it, then I'm going to leave you to it. Okay? And that doesn't matter who you are. You have to learn this as a son of Yah in this season. You have to be persuaded of this fact. Who you are in him, what he's called you to do, and what fits your purpose and what don't. It don't fit my purpose. I could be a lifeguard for you. I could be a life coach for you. I could be all of that. But if you're rejecting what I'm giving you, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm not going to have no feelings about what you're doing. I'm going to go on. I'm going to take my peace back because I allowed my peace to come into the situation to try to bring deliverance. And then you rejected it. So I'm going to take my peace back before I shake the dust. Because what I'm not going to do is be upset or be in my feeling. I'm just going to take my peace back. I'm going to maintain my peace by taking the peace back that I offered the situation to assist you. Are you listening to what I'm saying? It's a split. When people in that schizo place, they don't know how to receive. Because you've been in a split place for so long, you don't even know how to receive the love of God anymore. You don't even recognize. This is what we were talking about, where people don't even recognize. You don't even recognize who's in your presence. You don't even recognize who's in your vicinity. You don't even. Do you know that the Pharisees didn't even recognize the master? Just like many people that you are encountering in this season that you've been graced to bring something to, they don't even recognize what's on you. They have not even recognized you to be able to receive from you. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Good evening to all those that are coming on. I love y'all. Go ahead, baby. You can say something to that because I know we were talking about that earlier.
Yes, so earlier we were talking about people pretty much trying to blame God for why the things that are happening in their lives are happening in their lives. And, Yah was just saying to me, he was saying to me, like, I can do no wrong. And if I can do no wrong, then what is it that people are connecting themselves to that is crashing them? Or what is it that is connecting themselves to people, which also you would have to open up in order for that thing to even connect itself to you? Some things the Father does, he'll allow certain things. We have had that happen. We have read that, but at the end of the day, they still knew it wasn't the Father, and they weren't going to ever blame him for what was happening to them. And a lot of people don't understand that the enemy has you blaming the Father for what he is doing. If the enemy is the one that comes to kill, steal, and destroy, there is no way that if the Father can be all good, everything great about him, and everything he's saying or has said is not a lie, and anything he says, it will not go void, right? So if y'all still hear me? I was getting called. If Satan is the author of confusion, then there is no way, and the father of lies, if all that's going on in your life is confusion and lies, and that's what the enemy comes to do, is kill, steal, and destroy. And the Father comes to bring peace, no confusion.
He comes that you might have life and that you might have it
all
more
of that. He
abundantly.
comes to bring abundant life more abundant. If that's what he's coming with, how is he the one, or he's the reason for why you going through what you going through? No, let's do a self-check. That we go back to that humbling yourself. Let's do a self-check. Let's hold ourselves accountable and say, no, let me check and see where I'm at. Because let me tell you, you could be a good person. You could be a great light and amidst the darkness and don't know what to do with yourself if you don't have the Father. So at the end of the day, you're dimming your light or allowing that darkness to dim your light because you're not connected like you think you are.
Wow. That's good. That's good. That's good. I want to go back to the you could be a good person piece because a lot of people are depending on their goodness. Now, religious people would take that and run with that. I understand what you're saying, and the sons understand what you're saying in that point, because you can be good, but that don't mean you should be good to everybody or good for everybody. At the end of the day, if you're depending on your own righteousness, well, I don't do this and I don't that and I'm this and I'm that. That ain't got nothing to do with his righteousness. If he told you to do something and you neglect to do what he told you to do, but now you want to claim I'm good, I'm right, but everything's going wrong, something ain't right with that. Like she's saying, you're going to have to check. Self-check is a priority. And as long as we're alive, we're going to need to check ourselves. There's a word that the Father just kept on saying. He kept on telling the children of Israel, take heed to yourself. That word to me sounds like this word that we have in our culture where it say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay? He's saying, check yourself. See what, like she just said, locate where you are. Identify what's going on. Look at this thing. Uncover it and look at it. Stop trying to cover it up. Stop trying to put fig leaves on it and look at it for what it is. It's the same thing Adam did in the garden. As soon as he didn't show up at his appointment. Wait a minute. He's schizo. He had a split. You know how he had a split? Because he was listening to another voice. And this is what she's just now saying. You could be in an environment that is diluting you, that is causing your light to be quenched. And now you don't even trust the Father no more. I don't really know. Well, we'll see. I don't know. What you mean you don't know? There's some things you're supposed to know when it comes to him. He's not in question. You're questionable. Your environment is questionable. But the Father is never questionable. He is always going to make himself clear. He's always going to make himself plain. It's whether you want to hear what he's saying or not. It's whether you want to acknowledge the way he's going with something. It's whether you want to acknowledge his priorities. Sure, you might have all these priorities and you putting all these things before him. And now you want to come. We were talking about this earlier too. Now you want to come. Now it's an emergency. Now it's an urgency. You ain't had no conversation. You not relational until you need something. He's not a genie. You don't rub a magic lamp and get Yah out of it. You might get another spirit, but you're not about to get him. You don't snap your finger and he's your garçon. He not parking your car. He ain't valet. You understand what I'm saying? He ain't at the front desk. He is not concierge. Do y'all hear what I'm saying to you? Y'all got this thing twisted. You think Yah is your concierge. You supposed to be serving him. In you serving him, he makes these things available to you. But he ain't concierge. He ain't valet. He is God, the Almighty, the all-powerful, the all-knowing, all-seeing, sovereign, creator of the universe. You don't snap your finger and he shows up. He is present where people are drawing near to him. Did you hear what I just said? You split. Is something wrong with you? If you think you gonna snap your finger, he just gonna come. He is present with sons. His spirit lives on the inside of us. We're not looking for something on the outside. There's treasure in you that he's already placed there. The answer to everything you will face is already in you. Yeah. So while you sitting thinking about it, pondering what you need to be doing, yeah. While what you're pondering is, what you should be pondering is, Father, what's the move? What is it that you're trying to say to me? What is it that you're desiring of me? You understand what I'm saying? How do you go to the Father with a whole attitude? Because he's desiring something from you, but you need something from him. The breath you breathing is his. That's the same breath that he released in the first Adam, when he breathed life into man and he became a living soul. That same breath is perpetuated throughout eons of time. You are a recipient of the first breath he breathed into mankind. Who are you talking to? You got to identify who you dealing with here. Because see, the roles are messed up. And anytime roles are messed up, there's going to be abuse. There's going to be abnormal use of something. Go ahead, baby. I know you got something to say about it.
No, I just wanted to go back on what you were saying, and you were touching on What were you touching on? Father, please bring it back to me. Devil is a liar. You were touching on, what was the first thing we were talking about before?
I was talking about the Father not being valet. How he is, right, how he's, right. Yeah. We don't just snap our finger and he show up. He's present. He's inside. We're not looking for something outside of us. What we need is already inside of us. He's already put it there.
Right. Okay, so the thing before that I was hearing, how I remember when I was saying how people like to try to blame the Father for something, like we were talking about earlier. The Father will send people your way. And he was saying to me earlier, if I could speak through a burning bush, why do people think I can't speak through another person or a human being that might be going through some things? If I could speak through an animal, what makes people think, if I would send an animal to somebody in the time of need, what makes you think that I cannot send a human being to tell you something, whether they're going through something, whether in your mind you've seen them go through this or go through that? That goes back to that he who is without sin cast the first stone. Because who are you that you can dictate who
you don't judge the situation based
on who you
judge
gonna listen to? Yeah. Right. Who you gonna listen to? It's either you're gonna accept this word, be free, be healed, or you're going to reject it. If something that you're hearing is something good, it's the Father. It does not matter where you think that thing is coming from. If it's something good that can change your life, that can help you move forward, you feel that spirit pushing you saying, you need to come out of it. That's the Father.
Yeah.
It's not nothing that's making you feel like, oh, well, it's whatever, I can stay in here a little while longer. No, it's literally pulling you out. It's not condemning you by saying, oh, you're a horrible person. No. It's coming with love, and you are being condemned. You're condemning yourself.
Yeah. You just being thrown a rope, but you putting the rope around your neck.
Yeah.
Trying to choke yourself. What kind of sense does that make? I threw the rope to rescue you. Not for you to hang yourself.
Right. You are here. It's already done. People coming to the Father, that's what it was. People coming to the Father like, oh, Father, can you please? Or when you get sent somebody, and the Father sends you somebody because you don't like who the person is, and you don't feel like the Father can speak through them, you reject it. Oh, I'm not going to listen to that. Oh, I'm not going to hear that.
Or
I
just
know
could be that you
come from the Father because I know He would speak through them, and then you say, oh, I'll pray that.
No,
I gotta pray about this. I gotta seek Him first myself.
Yeah, or you don't like what was said. You don't want to do what was said.
You don't want to do because it came from me. Because it came from somebody that you don't feel like is worthy in your eyes. But what you say ain't what He's saying. Ain't what the Father's saying. It's either you're gonna get this word in this season or you're not. That's just what He's at. The Father is going to speak through who He's going to speak to. Y'all need to stop being so level-headed, thinking that y'all better than everybody, that y'all can't accept the word of the Lord. Because He is going to, these backsliders, He's getting ready to come through the backsliders.
He's coming through.
He told me that the other day. And a lot of our church folks ain't ready for that.
They not.
Y'all not ready for this correction because the Father is coming for y'all.
He is.
Because y'all not listening. Y'all not getting it. Nobody is being healed. Nobody is being delivered.
He said judgment begins at my house. I'm going to pull that scripture up.
And it starts with us, like I said. You can't just be sitting over here thinking that you can't hold yourself accountable and blame everybody else for stuff. Oh, it's their fault. If they had a did this, then I wouldn't be here. What are you doing now? If you are breathing and living and you are an adult and you can make changes in your life, honey, you are not the victim no more. It's time to move forward. It's time to break them chains. It's time to let it go. It ain't just let go and let God. You can't let go and let God if you're not willing to fully let go.
That's it.
You have to literally be fully willing to say, okay, you know what, I'm done. I'm not about to fight this no more. But not fighting it no more is not thinking about it, not talking about it, not even giving it any place in your life. Let it go.
Come on.
I don't even know where I'm going here, but I'm letting the Father use me because it's speaking to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to be willing to have an open ear to what He's saying. And it don't matter who keeps coming to. Stop being so judgmental. Who are you? Who are you to try to judge somebody else? You don't know who the Father is to that person or who that person is to him. Stop speaking on people you don't know. Y'all better watch who y'all speaking over and talking about in this hour. Watch who you putting your mouth on. You don't know. He not playing. I don't know who this is for, but this is for some folks for real. Y'all got to stop speaking on people. You don't know who people are to the Father in this season. I know you may think you see what you see in them. You see that they going through this or that. You see in your eyes, that's who they are. But baby, that's not who the Father has said they are. That's not what He thinks of them. So y'all need to stop talking about people and go sit down and go pray for somebody. Pray for your brothers and sisters that are lost, that are going astray. Pray for them. Help them. Pull them back in. Who are you? You were once that. So who are you to try to talk?
The word said, and such were some of you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
But now you're washed and now you're clean. And so I'm going to clarify what she's saying, because some of y'all will take that and mean that we're not supposed to judge anybody, because we are. That's deception is real out here in these streets. And the first thing, one of the last things that the master said before he left was, don't be deceived. Don't let no man deceive you. That means you're going to know people by the fruit. Okay? You're going to know people by their manifestation. You're going to know them by that. Quit acting like you don't see what you see and you don't know what you know. It's nothing worse than lying to yourself about a situation, and men and women do it. Women are better at romanticizing stuff, but I've been identifying with some men in this season that romanticize stuff. Oh, well, they're a good person. Oh, well, they're still. Are you kidding me? You didn't overhear the conversation about you? They wasn't just on the phone, low-key dogging you. You didn't just walk in on the conversation, but they still good people, though. Y'all stop lying to yourself about stuff. This is how the enemy gets in things. This is how he gets in and he begins to deal with you in a way where you are schizo, where you are split. And you can't even respond to what the Father is really doing because you don't understand the difference between clean and unclean. You don't have a value for righteous and wickedness. You don't understand that. Come on. He's going to expose things. And when he exposes things, those are the signs that you need to begin to identify what you're dealing with. Elder Vicky just put it up. You have to try the spirit. We're going to go there tonight because that's important. But you got to have the right spirit before you can try anybody's spirit. If your spirit ain't right, how you trying somebody else? Put your stuff on the scale first. Let's weigh your spirit first. Weigh your spirit, and then now we can weigh somebody else's. You understand what I'm saying? Take the beam out your eye. Don't be walking around here with a big old pole in your eye trying to take a speck out of somebody else's. That's a real place. And so, again, let's go back to this because we'll hear leadership say, well, nobody's perfect. No, perfection is about maturity, good people. Perfection is about maturity. I'm not getting ready to judge anybody's stuff, and I got a beam in my eye because I can't even see their stuff properly. With a beam in my eye, my eyesight is blocked. My vision is not absolutely clear. Thank you, Elder. 1 John chapter 4. Absolutely. Okay? So let's get into this journey. That was the opener. We spent an hour on an opening. Okay? We've been on this journey of spiritual schizophrenia for a season, and I heard the Father say to me, do 2 more installations, and these will be the final installations for this. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. The topic tonight is Babylon, the mother of spiritual confusion. Now, I will give you the verse when we get into it a little bit further, but there's still conversation that he wants to have around this before we get to that. You've heard the scripture, come out of her, my people, right? It's a whole bunch of scriptures on mystery Babylon. I'm giving you stuff that you can jot down so that you can study these things. We're going to bring some of it forward, but I'm not going to be able to talk about it all tonight, okay? But we must always be mindful of the interference of outside agencies. When we're talking about Babylon, we're dealing with something that is an entity or an agency that is opposing what the Father is doing. So let's go on a little journey for a brief moment here. We're going to go on a little journey, okay? Babel happened in the book of Genesis, okay? In chapter 10, you'll hear about Nimrod, who is in the lineage, a righteous lineage, by the way, okay? And I want you to know that where the root of spiritual confusion comes from, it doesn't come first out of darkness. It comes out of truth that is twisted by darkness. Okay? The foundation of spiritual confusion is the truth being twisted by darkness. You understand what I'm saying? And it starts on a spiritual level. It starts on a spiritual level. And it is contaminated on that level. And now it is in every area. 111, I see you. So let's talk about Nimrod for a moment, because he is related to Noah. He is related to Terah. He's related to Abraham. Okay. These are family. These are all family. This is what we're dealing with right now. But Nimrod, instead of choosing the path that Abraham chose, which I might go into a little bit deeper tomorrow, because there are extra biblical books that will give you a deeper clarity on what a thing is. So that we see the basic story in Genesis, but the book of Jasher goes into a deeper conversation about what actually happened with Abraham, what Terah did for a living. It goes into all of these dynamics about how Nimrod, who was younger than Terah, by the way, became the king of the place that he, built up, this city that he built up. He became the king over the people. Now, how did he become the king over the people? Let's talk about that for a minute, because the word says that as Nimrod, a mighty hunter before Yah, he's a mighty hunter before Yah. One, it's talking about a position as in him putting himself in the place of, but the other thing is he was also a hunter. And because he hunted and he did well at what he did, he was revered for what he did. Okay? He was revered for what he did. And so not only that, but you have to understand this, because of how he was brought up, because of what he knew, he was ahead of everybody else as far as his spiritual technology. So people were looking to him for something, and he took them looking to him and began to twist what he was given to give to the people. He became a king over them. All right. And so they began to build some things. Let's look at this. You got to be mindful of outside agencies. That's what we were that's the opener, the interference of outside agencies. There's always something outside of you that is attempting to deal with you and to try to change what the Father has established. The Father has told Noah and his son, spread out in the earth. I need you to replenish. I need you to spread out. Nimrod and his crew come into this place, and now they're looking for a place to build. And they make this statement: come, let us make a name for ourselves. Let's make a name for ourselves. Okay? That's what we're getting ready to do. We're going to become famous. We're going to become great. We're going to create a situation that is unforgettable. Okay? We're going to create a situation that is absolutely unforgettable, and we're going to become great because of what we create. All right? All right, so be mindful of the outside agencies. Here's another example. Come back to Nimrod. The planet seed and the mimic seed. Now, I'm a farmer. Most people wouldn't know that about me because I don't necessarily maybe look like a farmer. I don't know what farmers look like, but, that's what most people would say. Well, you don't look like a farmer, right? Okay, well, I guess farmers have a look. I don't have the overalls or none of that on right now, but I'm a farmer. That's my nature. That's who I am at my core, okay? And I've had several lands, all right? And I've planted several things even when I didn't have my land. When I had a house and I had a front yard or a backyard, there was always something being planted, something always growing. One of the things that I noticed, I'm talking about being mindful of outside agencies, interference from outside agencies. This is a real thing. When I planted a seed, and I always made a schematic of what I planted. The reason why I made the schematic of what I planted was so that I would know what I planted, where I planted it, and all of that, and I would be clear as to how I planted. Because what I noticed about planting is that when I plant this seed, there was always a mimic seed that would come up. Did y'all hear what I said? There was always a mimic seed that came up. The seed looked like what I planted, but it wasn't. And so in its early stages, I needed to pull it up. I needed to uproot it so that it wouldn't get its roots entangled with my actual plants, because at that point I wouldn't be able to pull it up, which means it would be pulling vital nutrients from the soil to grow itself instead of those vital nutrients going to the plants that are necessary. That's why you pull weeds in a garden, because you don't want to allow the weeds to grow. All right. Remember, we were talking about taking that thing into captivity, the thoughts, the very thoughts that are going through your head. You got to bring those things under arrest. You got to arrest those things, right? And so I would pull those things. I would be able to identify what the mimic seed was because I knew what I planted and how I planted. So maybe I staggered the planting. Maybe I did a box in the raised bed gardening. And in this one little box, I did like a diagonal planting. But this mimic seed kind of showed up off center, kind of showed up towards the middle, or off to the middle between those two seeds. So I knew it was the mimic, so I was able to pull it, right? One of my businesses, I'll say this, became a target of counterfeits because I was officially seen as a specific kind of agency. And so now I was starting to get calls, I was starting to get emails in this attempt to try to contact or contract with me, okay? And I want you, and I said that particularly because I want you to know that everything in life is a contract. Now, why am I saying that to you? Why am I bringing that to bear? Because when you're talking about confusion, when you're talking about Babylon, when you're talking about coming out of a place, you have to be mindful of the contracts you make, because the contracts bind you to the place. Contracts bind you to people. And when you're needing to come out, you can no longer contract with where you need to come out of. Are you listening to what I'm saying? You cannot continue to contract in a place that you need to come out of. It's better for you to be quiet. It's better for you to keep to yourself. Be cordial, all of those things. Okay, if that's necessary, if you're on a job or whatever, be cordial. But if you know you're about to make an exit, you're no longer coming in the contract. You're not going on the board to try to see when they putting up the post for the raise, because you're not interested in the raise. You're about to go. So you're not going to continue to come into contract with the business because you're leaving the business. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So I said that because everything in life is a contract. And the truth of the matter is, if you see things for what they are, you'll make different decisions. If you can see it for what it is, okay? If you remember that everything is a contract and that everything is trying to bring you into contract, smile and wave. Absolutely. If you remember that, then you may acknowledge the Father, which is what you were instructed to do from the beginning. You may acknowledge him first before you make moves into things. Man, one of the reasons why so many people are dealing with spiritual schizophrenia, why so many people are split in their spirit, split in their soul as it pertains to the things of the kingdom, as it pertains to the business of the king, is because they have contracted themselves out to too many places. And they have not broken the contracts. They are simply walking around with all of these open contracts and all of these obligations. When the Father is saying, that's not what I'm calling you to. That's not what I'm obligating you to. So maybe if you remember that everything is about contracts, then you might remember to acknowledge him before you come into contract, okay? Before you move into things, all right? Who the company is trying to become more intimately connected. This is a note that I put down for myself. These companies that are identifying my information, I'm going back to that. And I actually had some I want to post. I'm gonna let you in here for a moment, baby, so I can pull this video up. And everything everything that's on this live is for educational purposes. Okay, including this video that I'm about to post. I'm gonna make sure I put that in the comment section because I have a right to share this video for educational purposes. I'm not in any way impeding copyright infringement. It's on YouTube. It's available to the public. Okay, so one of the things that I want you to understand is these people are trying to contract with me, become more intimately knowledgeable about who I am so that they can get access to my information. as to either take something from me or offer me something that I am not requesting. Okay? I'm not requesting this of them. So they send me stuff like your registration needs to be updated. Well, guess what? I'm ignoring the email because I know you're not who you say you are. I'm talking about the counterfeit because my registration is good through October of this year. So it's some things you need to know. Remember, we were talking about that. It's some things you need to know. If you know what you're supposed to know, if you are intimately connected to the Father, you're reading his word and you're allowing him to speak to you, and you're responding to when he's speaking to you, however he decides to speak. If it's a person, if it's a bird, if it's nature, if it's numbers, whatever he's saying, if you're acknowledging that, that means you're taking the time to uncover and to unpack what he's speaking to you so you have clarity. You understand what I'm saying? And if you do that, then you will be positioned to identify the counterfeit more readily. Because the reason I'm able to identify this counterfeit is because my registration is good through October. I know that because I did it. So I know you're not who you say you are. Okay? So even when they send me this stuff and call me on the phone, I call them out. No, that's not so. I don't know who you are or why you're contacting me, but I know that you're not who you say you are because my registration is good through October, right? So I let them know that, and then they hang up the phone, right? So this is how you got to handle your spiritual enterprise. Just as you would be protective over your information from a natural perspective, you have to be protective of your person spiritually in this same manner. If someone calls you and says, I need your banking information, right? Trying to sign you up for something that you qualify for. We're just trying to pre-qualify you. And so, you didn't solicit this interaction or none of that. Your first acknowledgement is that I didn't solicit this. I'm not looking into nothing. I didn't ask for nothing. And if you didn't if you didn't solicit that, then you automatically know that it's fraud. Automatically. This is why we get into so many things and there's such a split and such a schizo, because we don't know what we're supposed to know. And because we're not making note of what we should know and operating in what we should know, then when things pop up, we come into contract. So the problem is so many are entering into contracts because they lack the knowledge of what they were doing and have given legal authority to diabolic activity. Your life is full of diabolic activity. You've been on this extended journey of diabolic activity because you gave grounds to an enemy. I'm going to mute for a minute and let you talk. I'm going to pull up this video.
So this goes back to something that I was talking about a couple years back, and the Father just brought this back up in my spirit, and I'm hearing him say what he was telling me before, which is see the signs. The issue is a lot of us have all these signs that the Lord shows us, and we completely ignore them. It's like, when are you gonna follow the yellow brick road? See the signs. Follow that road. Follow that path. You have things that will guide you back home. But if you want to ignore the signs and you don't want to hear nothing nobody's saying, how you gonna get home? How are you gonna get back to where you need to be able to be used, to be able to be that vessel that you need to be fully, so that you can be of help to someone else. So you need to see the signs, because and this goes back to, see, all of it connects. That's what I love about the Lord. It goes back to people learning how to listen. My thing is, if Dorothy did not listen, or if she just thought she could just figure out her way on her own, she would have never gotten home. But the Father sent people, and even those people needed help. So by her doing that, she not only helped other people and was able to help other people with things, but she was able to end up getting back home. So at the end of the day, what you all need to understand is, in order for you to get home, you have to be willing to hear. You have to be willing to humble yourself. Humble yourself, please, because if you don't, you're going to keep going in circles. You're going to keep going in circles. Go back to just like the Israelites. going in circles. The promised land right there. Right there.
My God. It's right
How
there.
you going in circles and the promised land is right there? How are you missing it? The promised land is right there. The Father is saying, I've already set the table for you. When are you going to be ready to eat? When are you going to be ready to eat? You worried about
that goes back to the missing moments. You're missing moments.
Yeah. You worried about what the enemy is doing. And I have prepared a table for you to eat in front of your enemies, for them to watch you eat. And you crying and complaining like somebody doing something to you. No, baby, you doing it to yourself because you're not listening.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to share this video. That's powerful. We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
We're going to come back to that. That's so powerful because it's a fact. You know, the Father provides everything that we need. And it's when we don't follow through that we miss those moments. We've been talking about that missing the moment. But I'm going to share this video clip with you. And what it took me back to, and we used to watch these all the time when y'all was little, but what it took me back to was those Apple commercials, those Versus commercials. You remember Apple versus Macintosh? Took me back to the Apple versus Macintosh commercials. Remember I told you about being mindful about outside interference, outside stuff. Okay, stuff that doesn't, it's the counterfeit. It's not even the most beneficial for you, but you allowing access to the thing that is not beneficial. So I'm gonna put the commercial up. I was trying to download it in the thing, but I'm gonna have to share my screen. So I'm gonna pull it up in a way that I can share my screen, y'all. Give me a second. You'll be looking at my other screen for a minute. So give me a second. Sharing screen. Okay, y'all can see that, right? All righty then. I'll pull this up for you. Let me know you can see it. Did y'all see that? I hope y'all saw that. Did you see it? You didn't see it?
Yeah, I couldn't see anything on the
Oh,
screen.
wow. Okay, let me try it again.
She's so excited. She saw it.
I was so excited. I was like, it's hilarious. Did y'all see that? Y'all see that? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Give me a second. Let me get it right. Let me get it right. Okay. Let me know. Stay on live so you can let me know when you see it on the screen, Sweet Pea.
Yeah, I'm still
Y'all,
on it. I am.
okay,
I'm
forgive the
still.
delay.
Okay.
Just let me know when it shows up. Okay. Share screen. Okay, y'all should see. Can y'all see anything? Y'all see the screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I don't see anything.
You don't see anything on my screen.
Nothing.
Are you
You guys
kidding
see
me?
anything? Yeah, I don't see anything.
I'm not happy about that right now. Okay, I'll share it with y'all tomorrow. I'm
I'm
gonna
about to
move
say we're
on.
gonna get it together for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll share it with you tomorrow.
I was
I have to
hearing because
convert.
she said, I don't mean to cut you off. I was hearing because she said listen to his voice and follow the instructions, right?
Yeah, keep
And
talking. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to work it out.
for some reason the Father was giving me both the word instruction and construction. And I'm like, okay, where are you going with this? And you know how the Father does. So
Yes, I got
he
it. I
was
know how to do it now, but go ahead. I'm with you.
so he was telling me that the instructions that he's giving is an inner thing. It's already
Come
in
on.
us. It's us,
Mm-hmm.
it's him in us. So what he's
Yes.
giving us is an instruction, like
For construction.
construction. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's oh, there we go. There we go. Come on, Father. So he's like, this is an inner thing. So if I'm
Yeah.
giving you an instruction, I'm constructing,
Yes, I'm building
something
something. I'm
within
building you.
you.
I'm
I'm
building
fixing
you.
that thing within you. It's already done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
all you got to do is accept that.
That's
Accept the
powerful.
instructions.
That's it. Because it's constructing you, it's building you. Y'all
Period.
ready?
Go
Y'all
ahead.
ready? Okay. All right. Did y'all hear that? Did you see it? Hopefully you heard it and you saw it.
Honey, I didn't hear anything.
What?
I do remember that video. It's been years.
I'm over it. You didn't hear it?
No,
I'm
it,
over it.
I do remember that video though.
Okay. So I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll fix it. I got to figure out how to pull this
It's
thing
a
off the
lot of
screen.
crackling
All
and
right.
popping.
So yeah. Solid, no sound. No problem. We'll fix it. I have to fix the. Okay, so that's a talking point. So here we
I'm gonna
go.
go listen. I'm gonna go off and just listen for the rest of the time because we gonna fix whatever this is
The glitches.
for another time because this crackling and popping, and I don't
Okay.
need for them to hear the word because it's doing too much.
Okay. Okay, honey.
Okay.
I
All
know
right.
you in
I'll
the
be
comments.
right.
Okay. Okay, baby.
I love you.
Y'all bless the little one. She's living. We love you.
Love
Appreciate
y'all.
you.
I'm still on here.
Okay. All right. She's gonna exit the studio. I'm removing you now, baby. Okay. So we'll fix that. We'll figure out the technical difficulties. Y'all saw the video. That is basically Apple versus Macintosh. And why I wanted to bring that into the conversation is because you are needing to be mindful of what you're connecting to. Apple was a superior quality. And so one of the things that I brought that on for was because the father is always adamant about expressing to you this is before you even get to the place of schizo. He's always professing to you his love and who he is to you because he selected you out of something. He called you out of something to create. She just was talking about the building something in you. He's building a superior quality in you so that you can be what you need to be to draw other people. So what was one of Macintosh's draw? You know, we call it Apple now, but what was one of Macintosh's draw? That it did so many different things, that it communicated with so many different things. It even came to the place where it was able to communicate with Macintosh, and then you could have a hack Mac on your laptop. I got Windows firmware, got beware on my what is it called? Virtual. I got virtual Windows on my Mac right now. Okay, and it was able to communicate. It could speak the languages. It was superior. Okay, and so because it was superior, it got a lot of attention. It was a product that was in demand. This is what the father has been desiring to make his sons. Something that some people that are in demand. This is what he did with the children of Israel, the Hebrew children. He called them out of wherever they were, created this people, right, so that they would be the leading nation that would bring all nations to him. That was what their purpose was, but they could not figure it out. They was too busy placing blame. They was too busy being frustrated. They was too busy doing all the stuff that we started out in this conversation talking about, how everybody wanted to be the leader. You know, everybody is a leader by nature. I've heard people say, well, not everybody's a leader. That's not true. You're leading something. You are influencing someone. Everyone is a leader. It's just how you use your leadership and if you use it properly at all. But you're always in a leadership role. The thing is that as it pertains to Rock Mogul Ministries, as it pertains to Kingdom Ambassadors worldwide, as it pertains to Naked Soaps, etc., or any of those things, he made me the leader. Okay? So if you come in here and decide you want to connect to this tribe, then you're not getting ready to be like the Korhites, like, well, he don't just talk to her. No, he's talking to me for this because I'm the one that he's highlighting right now to lead the charge. Now, when he moves me out of the way and it don't have to be by death, then the person that is supposed to be the person is supposed to be the one that comes behind me to continue the work while I go and do something else, then they're in charge. Okay? And they will be in contact with other people that are connected, a council of people. There will be communication that goes on and all of that. But when we talk about responsibility, okay, listen to what I'm saying. The responsibility falls on the leader. The outcome, the whole thing falls on the leader. So yes, I may converse with you, but at the end of the day, it's just like a husband and a wife. The end result falls on him. So yes, if he's a real man, if he's a godly man and he understands his authority, he's going to have conversation with the wife. He's going to have conversation with his wife because he recognizes who she is. We're going to get to that in a minute. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. He recognizes who she is. So because he recognizes that, then he understands that we need to have a conversation because the Father gave you to me to help me meet my obligation. So there's something in you that I need to tap into so that I am better equipped to do what I'm doing. At the end of the day, it's going to fall on him, the final decision. But if he's a man, he's going to go through the proper channels. He's going to do everything he needs to do. He's going to he has a contract. He's going to operate in the contract that he's been given. Okay. And in that contract, he's going to find all that he needs to succeed in what he's doing because he recognizes what's in her for him. Okay. So let's go here. So y'all, when I'm talking about being aware of these outside agencies, so what did the Father do from the beginning? When in the beginning, he comes in on the scene and he begins to hover over the situation. It's dismal. It's not operable. It's all out of alignment. Now, one of the things I want you to be clear about, and I want to say this because, we have all of these different identities on things and we haven't really studied to know what we're saying. We're just hearing what people are saying. So we have all these ideas that come out of places of not knowing something. So when he comes into play, the way most people explain this conversation is that everything was disrupted. Like there were no people. There was nothing. There were people. It was just the fact that, and I want to go to that verse real quick because I want to prove to you that there were people. I'm going to pull up the verse. This is the Father talking to the council of the gods. Yeah, I know that kind of threw some people off, but you have to go watch some other videos because I may go into it some more tomorrow. But he has a council, right? And these are lowercase. There are gods. There are many gods. The word says that gods, there are many. He's not talking about the false gods that people create with wood and stone and in your imagination and all that. He's not talking about that. There are gods. There are other gods. This is where we get all of these concepts for the super friends, and we get all of this stuff about Greek mythology. Where does this stuff come out of? It comes out of other people's conversations about these gods. Okay, the Sumerian conversation. All of these things come up because there are other gods. So he's having a conversation with the council of the gods, and he asked them a question. And he asked the question, how long are y'all going to not deal justly? How long? I'm pulling it up now. It's the little delay. I'm pulling it up. Okay. Come on here. Y'all still with me? Pulling it up right now. All right, here we go. I got to get to it. All right. I don't know why I hear all this conversation outside of my door. But I know I told people I was in here doing a live, so I'm just a little bit confused. Just a little bit. I got to find it, y'all. Give me a second. I just shared it with you guys the other day, but I'm gonna pull it up. Y'all give me a minute. I want to share the scripture with you because I want you to yeah. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me see. It's in here. Yep. Okay. Y'all stay put. I'm pulling it up now. I'm going to give it to you. I need you to see this because you need to understand that the Bible is not it's first of all, it's not a religious book. Second of all, it's not limited to your religious identity of who the Father is and what he does and how he moves. It's not limited to just what you think and what you've been told. Okay. You have to take the limits off so you can see what's being said. You have to take the limits off so you can hear what he's saying. Okay. It's in here because I'm looking at the notes. So, oh, I just talked to you guys about it when we were talking about the covenant continuum. So if I don't pull it up now, I will put it in the chat section. But the conversation is important because he's asking a question and he's asking them how long are they going to judge the way they're judging. He said um, there is no righteous judgment in how you guys are judging. There is no righteousness. Y'all not giving attention to the widow. You're not giving attention to the things that should be given attention to. Okay. So because of this, wickedness is just going on, and this needs to end. I'm going to find this verse. This devil is a liar. I don't like not being able to find what I'm looking for. It's not, I don't like that. It just really bothers me when I can't find what I'm looking for. And I know what I'm looking for. So it's difficult. Okay. So y'all bear with me because I said I was here to do this work tonight and I'm not getting ready to get off no time soon. So just work with me. I'm going to find it. And even if I have to come back to it, I will find it. Oh, I know where it is. Okay. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He just told me where it was. It's in Psalm. It's Psalm 82. Yeah, thank you, Father. He's so good. Y'all see how he is? He's good. He asked them, he said, how long will you judge unjustly? Psalm 82:2. I love him because he's so good to me. If I'd just been still for a moment, I would have identified it. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Okay. Now the first verse says that Yah standeth in the congregation of the gods. He judgeth among the gods. In other words, he is the chief of gods, like he's the King of kings. He is the Lord of lords. Okay. He is the God of gods. And so he's in the midst of the congregation, the council of the mighty ones. Okay. And he's asking questions. He said, defend the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy, deliver the poor and rid them of the hand of the wicked. Okay. And this conversation is being had because there's a lot going on in the earth. Psalm 82:2, Elder. Thank you so much for trying to help me find it. Yeah. Thank you for trying to help me find it. Psalm 82. Go there and read that. There are things that are going on that a lot of people don't even know about because they haven't read the scripture. They're just listening to sermons on Sunday and they're not intimately acquainted with the God of the scriptures. So they don't know what's going on. Okay. So I brought that up to say that, we have this place. He's having these conversations. He's hovering over these waters and he's having these conversations. And it's not like there are no people in the earth. There are. But what does he do? I want to start you out on this path because there is a calling out that he does. So when we're talking about come out of her, my people, right? That's the whole thrust of this conversation, that you are being delivered from Babylon, the mother of spiritual confusion. And we've talked about a bunch of spiritual confusions, and we're not done with that. But I want you to identify this because he begins from the beginning to set apart, to set something apart, to set his man apart. There's other things going on in the world, in the earth. It's just not operating on the premise that he created it. Now wickedness is overrunning the earth. Okay. And so he sets the man that he creates. He sets what he creates in the garden. Okay. He sets that man in the garden and he begins to have a conversation with him about replenishing the earth. He's in the garden, but he's having a conversation with him about what he's supposed to do with the earth. Okay, it's supposed to start here. This is your training ground and this is your paradise. But I need you to make what's outside of here look like what I created in here. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I need you to finish the work. See, it's the master repeats what the father does. And so because we know this, because we read scripture and we know that the master repeats what the father does, then we can come to the identity that the father, when he's begin to declare things, look at what he's doing. Look at this. I need you to pay attention. Whatever's going on in your room right now, whatever's going on around you right now, I need you to pull it in for a second, okay? And I'm not even concerned about people coming on and off. I'm not concerned about losing people because I was sent to the lost sheep. I wasn't sent to people that think they got it all together. I was sent to the lost sheep. So my tribe knows who I am. My tribe knows me. And my tribe is not just located on social media. There is a people somewhere that's waiting on my voice so that they can walk into the signs, the miracles, and wonders that the Father has designed for sons in this season. So the thing about it is that we can identify how the Father did what he did in recreation and recreating things. And what he did was he began to declare something first, and then he created the man that was going to enforce it, that was going to finish the work. Because see, if the Father had replenished everything, if he had done everything, there would be no need for the man to do anything, because he would have just put him in a position to just live out where he is. Listen to this. You didn't think about this, did you? And I really hadn't gone down this line of reasoning myself until just now. Literally, this is revelation that he's sharing right now. Think about this. When he declared it, it was already so. So we're going to get into faith tonight too, because I'm going to share with you some of the things that split you. Some of the things that are bringing confusion. The confusion by mixing. You're mixing things in together with what the word is saying. You're mixing things in with what the Father has spoken to you. You got all these mixtures going on. And there's a dilution of the authenticity of his voice. There's a dilution of the authenticity of his power. There's a dilution of the authenticity of a move in your life because of the mixing. So we're dealing with the mixing right now. Okay? He sits him in the garden and begins to instruct him and train him and prophetically teach him what his role is in the earth as a G, a small G in the earth. The adversary was not supposed to have any keys. He was a prisoner. Just like he was banished from the heavens, he should have also been banished from the garden and had no place there. And Adam, even as Nimrod did, should have become sort of a king over those that were in the earth to begin to share with them. And now, how can I say this? Listen, this is revelation that the Father is giving right now off the cuff. This ain't even in my notes. How can I say this? Because the second Adam came as an instruction, as a prototype to all sons. Listen to what I'm saying. He came in the midst of people. Things were already going on, and he was the prototype. He was the example. He was the exemplary son. He was the way for us to follow. So the Father puts Adam in the garden, begins to prophetically give him insight, train him, give him supernatural authority in the earth to be able to do and to execute what God does in the heavens. He said, do this in the earth. I've already spoken it. It's already done. Now execute it. Are you listening to this? He said, I've already done it. I've already had the conversation. I've already hovered over the waters. Come on now. All sons are blueprints. There's got to be a blueprint. You've got to follow the pattern so that you can become a blueprint for those that are looking at you. We are living epistles. Listen, he said, Adam, I've already spoken it. I've already done it. And this goes back to what my daughter was talking about how people are pointing the finger at the Father as if he hasn't done his part. He's always going to do his part. The question is, where are you, Adam? Where are you? Listen to this, Adam, not even gender specific, just Adam, where are you? You off somewhere covering yourself up. Your shame, your name it feels like your name is going through some things. It feels like you got some shame on you. You having some regrets. You dealing with all of these things. He's saying, take the fig leaves off and come and talk to me. Had you met me where we meet then we could have dealt with this differently. But you went and hid instead, and you went and you talked to somebody outside of what was me having a conversation with you. This conversation was outside of the realm of my conversation. It was an opposing conversation. You gave ear to the opposing conversation, and now you're split. Now you're confused. Are y'all listening to this? How am I able to say that the first Adam was put in the garden? He was supposed to become a king over the earth. He was supposed to become a king in the earth to show the way of the King of Kings. He was to be able to show how things are happening in the heavens and allow that to be what it looked like in the earth. He was actually given authority to replenish, to recreate what the Father had spoken, to begin to bring that into being by his alignment with what the Father spoke and his ability to allow the Father to blow through him, pneuma, breath. Allow him to blow through you, Adam, to say a thing, to see it for what it is, to say it, and to allow it to become. There's more evidence that this was the case, because what the Father does in the garden is he says, Adam, come here, I want to show you these animals, right? He says, what do you call this? A lot of people think that Adam named the animals. He didn't name nothing. The Father already established. See, it's all of these different things that confuse things because we lose our place. We forget who we are and who he is. You remember that Pharaoh said to Joseph, only in my throne am I greater than you. But guess who's still on the throne? Okay, yeah, I'm pushing some things to you. You really the king, but I'm not gonna give up my throne for you to be it. I'm gonna let you run this thing, but I'm still remaining in control of the throne. I still have acts. I still maintain my power. I still maintain my authority in my throne. I'm authorizing you to do what you're doing. You're an authorized agent of heaven to work and to operate and to be on my behalf. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So he's supposed to be the authorized agent in the earth. And just like the adversary was banished from the heavens, he's supposed to be banished from the garden. Listen, there's already a mess out there, and I already have a work to do out there. But now you're coming in here, in the garden place, in the paradise, in the place of paradise, in the place of perfection. And now you're talking, and I'm allowing it. Got to be mindful of outside agencies that are speaking something contrary to what the Father's spoken. And many of you, if you just go back to your youth, if you just go back a little bit further, you'll remember what the Father's original conversation with you was. And just like parents, we ain't going to repeat ourselves too many times. You understand? If he said it a couple times, right? And now he's repeating it again. How many times you think he's going to repeat this before you say, you know what? I'm honoring what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You want to do things in the order that you want to do them, but he has a way. He has an order. Many are the plans of man. And you know what? You can have a whole bunch of plans, but at the end of the day, the Father says that my word is what's going to stand. And I authorized you as a person in the earth to accomplish a purpose. And if you ignore the purpose trying to be another kind of person, then that's going to be a problem. You understand what I'm saying? If you ignore your purpose as a person, the reason why I designed you, the reason why I created you, the reason why I put these treasures in you, and you go and you try to do something else, that's going to be a problem. Me and my daughter were laughing about this earlier, but it's real talk because we're in the music industry. So it's real talk. This is funny, but it's real. Okay. One of the reasons why I denied several recording contracts back in the day was because I didn't have the gleam in my eye. Let's start there. And I wasn't getting ready to bow to whatever they wanted me to do just to become what they were trying to make me. I already had a sound. This was already established. Now they want to know, well, how we going to get in? Because you've already got a sound. You've already got, clearly you've already got a way that you do things. So how can we get in? Do you mind working with our producers? Well, who are your producers? That was my question. Who are they? I want to know what it is you're trying to do. And then we can decide whether I'm going to come into this contract position or not. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to be very mindful of that. So we were laughing about this earlier, but a lot of y'all, woo-wee, I'm about to say something, and some of y'all feelings going to be hurt, and others of y'all going to be really, really in y'all feelings about this, but I don't care because your soul is more important to me than your feelings. Okay? A lot of y'all, it was a thing to run off and to go and play for all these secular artists, quote unquote, right? Because the truth of the matter is that music, see, everything is about intention. Everything is about the heart of the matter. Okay. So let me say this. Let me preface it by saying this because I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna use me as the example. First of all, I'm a recording artist. I'm a singer. Okay. I don't sing just church. I don't, it's hard for me to say this because the mindset, I'm trying to get around your mindset. I don't sing a genre. I sing music. I make music. So some of my music is about life experiences, and we need that. Okay. And some of my music is worship. I think that's a good way. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You did that. Some of my music is praise or it's worship or it's honor to the Father. And some of my music is just for life experiences so that people can hear different things about life and tap into the system of beliefs that I have because how I believe is how I write. You understand what I'm saying? And so they're going to tap in to how I believe based on what I'm writing, whether it's a love song, whether it is a challenge to a relationship, whatever it is, it's going to be appropriate for the environment that I'm going in. In other words, I have some love songs that I would not stand up in a meeting while I'm getting ready to teach the people kingdom assignment and sing before I teach. Everything has a place. The problem is that people have been trying to become something and they haven't tapped into who they are. So in trying to become something and trying to become a star and trying to become all of these things, they have compromised because they have dealt with man-made systems. And you remember what I told you about man-made systems the other day. Anytime you're dealing with man-made systems, then you're dealing with a system that has given the adversary access. When you're talking about kingdom, right? Kingdom could be that I'm just singing music. I'm singing experiential music. I'm singing worship. I'm singing whatever it is, love songs or whatever it is, upbeat kind of, dance or party track, right? I'm singing experiential stuff. But I haven't left the kingdom because I'm doing that. This is who I am, and this is my contribution to the earth in these various facets. But I'm not trying to become something. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you understand something. I'm not leaving something to try to cross over to something. I am just being who I am. I'm not trying to come into a place so I can be a star. I just am who I am, whatever comes with that, because the Father is the one that says, I will make your name great. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to do what I'm called to do. And while I'm doing what I'm called to do, that is glorifying him. Hear me and hear me clearly. Because some of y'all want to be and want to do all of these things. But where is his glory going to come in at? So we're laughing and joking earlier, me and my daughter, and we're laughing about this fact that, faith, because we're going to talk about that in a minute, faith, a lot of people misunderstand faith because you think that the Father wants you to have faith for whatever you want to do. And that's not how that works. Everything has all of content has a context. What the church has been really good at is taking things out of their context and just creating content without the context. And so we got all of these people, churched people. Notice I said churched. Okay, we're not even gonna put the ed. Let's just put a t on it. CHURT. Churched people walking around, naming it and claiming it, blabbing it and grabbing it, believing for whatever they want to do, trying to have faith, what they think is faith, for whatever they want, just hoping and wishing, right? All right, and trying to figure out, well, why the Father not doing it? The Father is only obligated to his word. He's not obligated to your word. Let me give you some clarity, because I hear people when they say stuff like, okay, when you're reading the story about Elijah and he says, at my word, there'll be no dew nor rain. So we get people who are prophetically inclined saying, I can just make something up and the Father just going to go along with it. No, you're missing the point. There is a particular way that things work here. So when famine comes as a result of idolatry, this is a scriptural fact. Famine, blasting, plagues, all of that, if at all in the land, it's a direct result of idolatry. Hear me when I tell you, this is from cover to cover, from the beginning to the end. If there is idolatry, there are plagues, there is famine, there is blasting, there is death, all of that. So all Elijah did was do what he saw his father doing. He did the same thing that the master did when he came on the scene. He did the same thing that Adam was supposed to do, that Noah did, that Abraham did. He did the same thing that sons are supposed to do, which is tap into what the father is doing or what he's already done and imitate it. Remember, I told you the father, all he did was speak the word. He declared the thing, and now there was a difference between Adam and what was outside of the garden. He made a difference. He not only made a difference, but he created a whole situation to put him in as a working place, as his foundational place to spread out from. Okay? So here we are. Elijah just simply declares what is in order to declare. Okay, there's idolatry. Y'all killing the prophets of Yah. Okay, y'all are exalting the prophets of Baal. The people are worshiping what you're worshiping. There'll be no dew nor rain at my word. He didn't just make it up. He didn't just come up with it off the cuff. It was what was in order for the hour. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So Adam didn't just make it up. He wasn't supposed to just be making it up. We're not supposed to just be making it up. Prophecy is not just something that you make up. It's a result of you being intimately connected with the Father and identifying what's to be done in the season. Listen, the word talks about, right, the sons of Issachar, knowing what ought to be done in every season. How do they know that? Because of their connection. This is their responsibility. This is their banner. They have been given the responsibility to respond to what heaven is saying, to identify what the Father is doing, and to give the people, this goes back to leadership, y'all. This is what they were bringing to the table. Now, what would happen if the people couldn't hear the sons of Issachar? Then they would be running into wars that they were getting destroyed in. But because Issachar was given the authority and the authorization to be the ones that knew what Israel ought to do, then Israel leaned on Issachar to hear what they ought to do. It's simple. It's not that difficult. I promise you it's not. I promise you it is not that difficult. People are making this way more difficult. But you know what? People are more inclined to fascinating things than to the simplicity of the kingdom. They're more inclined to fascinating than simplicity. And even the supernatural has simplistic nature and making more than you can walk into the supernatural. You can walk out the supernatural in a very simplistic way. You know what that simplistic way is? If you draw nigh to me, I'll draw nigh to you. If you call on me, I will show you great and mighty things that you know not. The secrets belong to me, and who I reveal it to belongs to them and their children forever. It's about the relationship. So the reason why people are split is because they have no relationship, and what the Father has spoken to them, I'm going back to that, they have left off from that. I told you, if you need to go back to your youth, you need to go back to your youth, because the Father spoke some things to you in your youth, and he's simply going back in the order that he gave it to you from the beginning. He's going back in the order that he designed it for you. He's going back in that order. So if you're trying to jump to whatever it is you're trying to jump to, and he's trying to put you in a position of relationship, I'm not talking about with just him. If relationship is what he says you need for now, and you trying to do career first, then you got a problem. Because you're trying to get to career, that means you're going to neglect the relationship. But if you do the thing in the order that he's given it to you, then you'll have the foundation that you need so that when you go into this career, you're not consumed because you got a partner now. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, I'm going back to something. We were laughing about this, right? Because people get faith twisted. They get belief twisted because how the church operates is they've given us all these things and it's just such a mixture of everything. And so we say things and they don't have the content proper. The context is not proper. So the content is just open for open. It's open source. You know, Apple used to be open source, and I used to be able to put a Windows iOS on my Apple phone and all of these different things. And now things are closed source. That means you got to use Apple products. You got to use this and that and the other because it's not open source. So how the church has how things have been set up is that the church has taken all these things. I'm going to slow down because I'm here. I'm going to be here. Taking these things out of its context and created all of these denominational confusions and all of these doctrinal confusions, all because it's not in its context. Okay? The king was never concerned about a denomination. He was never looking for a church. The Father is not the head of the church. I know that's what that word says in the Greek, but the word is ecclesia. It's talking about a body of those called out. just like he was called out. Well, where was the master called out from? He was called out from the religion of his people. He was called out from that conversation that they were having, not just to have the conversation, but to be the manifestation of the conversation. They stuck in the conversation, and he's becoming the manifestation. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So let's go back to this. Let's go back to it. So he is interested in these sons. And so he sets Adam in the garden, right? For him to become what he's supposed to become in the earth as a representative of the King of Kings, right? And so how I'm able to say all these things, I showed you that the sons do what the Father has done. The sons do what the Father is doing. The sons speak, they both say and speak what the Father is saying and speaking. That means for this time and in the present. Okay, so prophecy is not just some random thing. It's a responsibility. Absolutely. So we were talking about this earlier. I'm going back to that. And what we were laughing about, I'm going back because I forget y'all. I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back for you because my prayer is that you be delivered from the mindset that you have. Most of you are more interested in playing 4 stars than highlighting the Father in your life. You don't want to highlight Yah, but you want to play for stars because it makes you look good. It looks good on your resume. Are you listening to what I'm saying? And I'm no different than the next person. If I get an opportunity, we believe there will be many opportunities in this season to do some things, but it's because I've been authorized, I've been trained, I've been tested for where I'm getting ready to be taken. Somebody put that in the chat window. You need to be tested for where you're getting ready to be taken. Put it in the chat window. I'm putting it in there myself. Listen, I have been tested for where I'm about to be taken. Oh my God. Woo! My God. If you are not tested for where you're being taken, you're going to be destroyed when you get there. So we were laughing and joking about the saints, quote unquote. YAHS people, quote unquote. I'm about to go over in P. Diddy camp and do some production over there. And the Father like, no, you're not going over there. You're not going over there. And so you fighting back and forth with the Father about him telling you no. You're not going over there. You want to go so bad. You want to go over there so bad. Now, if the Father would do you like he did the children of Israel and give you what you asked for, and you have not been tested for where you're getting ready to be taken, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be destroyed. And so now you have gained the world. Your resume looked better. You accomplished something that was in your sights, but you've lost your soul. Are you listening to what I'm saying? You have lost your soul all over a gig, all over playing for the best band, all over being the backup singer for the grandest person that's on the scene right now. All of that, over that. You lose your soul over getting something that makes you look good, but the Father gets no glory in it. If he can't take you in a place and get glory, you ain't going. Unless you're going without him. Now, I'm going to say this, because the reality is you have been given the authority because you've been carved out in his image and his likeness, and you could actually bypass if you would like. Yeah, go ahead. I double dog dare you to bypass it because you're going to wind up right back. If you're not taken, if you're not whisked away, if you're not just destroyed in the process, you're going to wind up right back on your face crying out again. Because what's the point of him delivering you from one thing for you to go into another bondage? This is the way of the children of Israel. Listen, this is that split. The split comes in because you don't honor him. The split comes in and you're confused because of all the mixing. The Father wants to unmix the situation. He wants there to be no mixture as it pertains to him. He wants it straight, no chaser. He wants your worship straight, no chaser. Don't try. One of the reasons why I don't have a lot of respect for some of the things that people are doing in quote unquote, well, it is gospel. It is gospel music. Okay. I'm not talking about the good news. I'm not talking about the good message. It is called gospel. It's gospel music. The reason why I don't have a lot of respect for a lot of that is because people are mixing things. You're going to get this song from over here. for what you call in worship to the Father? Wait a minute. Maybe I'm confused. Because as far as what I know how the relationship works is, if it's for me, then it's what I want. Okay? It's not for me if it's not what I want. Okay? So I used this example before, and Elder brings it up. She brought it up yesterday when we were talking. If you throwing me a party and you got pig on the grill and all kind of meat, that ain't my party. That's y'all party that y'all invited me to. Because if it's my party, you're going to have what I eat. You're going to have a lot of fruit. You're going to have a whole, just a beautiful fruit spread. You're going to have all kind of vegan foods there. You're going to call in a vegan chef. Are you listening to what I'm saying? It'll be all manner of things there, but it's going to be vegan. So if it's for the Father, let me get this straight. How, pray tell, are you playing something that came from a whole nother place under a whole nother spirit? And I'm saying, this is what you got to understand. It serves a whole nother purpose. Let me just say that. It serves a whole nother purpose. Okay? How do you bring something that's purpose for something else and bring it into the purpose of worship? Now, I know I just made that clear because the Holy Spirit did that. I was struggling because I'm like, okay, all of it don't necessarily mean that all of it is bad, because you can listen to this in your house. You can be chilling with your mate and listen to something. But one of the things you got to really recognize is a lot of the old songs, and even the new ones are guilty of this, but a lot of the old songs, they're not even singing to people. I didn't mean to go there, but I'm going there because a lot of y'all don't even understand what you're dealing with. When you're looking at certain things, you don't even understand what you're looking at, because your identity of these things is so, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say, Father. Give me the words for it. You have such a church view of the world. You have such a church view of the world at large that you don't even know what's going on around you. So how can you take, because it's God's spell. That's how. But I'm saying it from a kingdom perspective. Why would I take something that was purposed for something else? Like, why would I take sexual healing? Because I like this vamp. So I'm gonna take the chords. I'm gonna take a sample out of sexual healing, and I'm gonna put it in this worship song. Listen to what I'm saying. I like the chord progression. So because I like the chord progression of this vamp, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make a song that I'm saying is honoring you, Father, with this chord progression from sexual healing. Listen, y'all need to quit playing these games, okay? It's not for him. It's not for him. It's for you. It's for you to show forth your showmanship, for you to show what you know. It's for bragging rights for later. It's for you. It's not for him, okay? So we need to stop telling these lies, because what's for him, listen, is what he wants, not what you want to give him. Are you hearing what I'm saying? What is for the Father is what he wants, not what you want to give him. All right. This other light is so bright. Do I need to take this other light away? I think so. Yeah, it's bright. Man, it's shining all in my face. I'm trying to make sure I don't have too much light on me. Is that good? Can you guys still see me? That other light was really getting bright in my eyes, and it's getting late. So I was tackling that to say, you've been asking, you doing this production, or you writing music, and you want to get in the writers group. You want to, I want to get with Bad Boy Records, or I want to get with Def Jam. I want, first of all, can we listen at the names of these companies? Can we just listen to the names of the companies first and understand what you're contracting with? Because you remember, I told you from the beginning, as a son, you have to be mindful of your contracts. You've got to be mindful of the contracts that you're entering in. You're not mindful. So what is the purpose of this contract? You need to take a look at this. What is the purpose of you desiring to contract in this way? If you can't say truthfully, honestly, so that the Father will be glorified, then you're trying to do the wrong thing. Your intentions are off. Your intentions are wrong. And the Father's not going to support it. Now, again, you can go off and do what you want to do. You've been given that kind of freedom, but the freedom that the Father gave you, he was hoping that you would choose him, not choose something else. Hello? He was hoping that you would choose him. Okay? Let's look at this. So we talked about you handling spiritual enterprise the same way you would handle your natural business, right? Okay. So we know that the Father separated the light from the darkness. The darkness was to be influenced by the light always. We live in a world where the supposed light is constantly being influenced by the darkness. How does that work? That doesn't make sense. The Father separated the light from the darkness. There's supposed to be a distinct difference. So if I'm going into a place, I have to be authorized to go, because if I'm going on my own, then I'm going by myself. I'm literally going on my own. Okay. All right. So listen to this. After he separated the light from the darkness, he gave me this example. He said, this was spoken to and of the priest, because the Father, I'm going to show you something in Ezekiel chapter 44. Pull that up real quick. Ezekiel 44. We're going to go to verse 23. I want to show you how the Father begins to make a difference, because instead of you being split, he wants to make the divide. Okay. So that you don't become split in your purpose, so that you don't become split in your personality, so that you don't become split in your spirit and go off doing a whole bunch of stuff and putting yourself in captive places because you're in contracts all over the place. You listen to what I'm saying? This is really important. You know, you are wanting something from him, but you got to understand the legality of what you're asking for. You got to understand the legality of what you're asking for. And if he gives you this, you got to understand the consequence of what you've asked for. The consequence of Israel asking for the prophets to speak kind words to them, soft words to them. Don't prophesy truth, prophesy lies. They wanted to just be consumed in what their desires were and ignore whatever the Father was saying. This is why there was a split. Okay? And the Father said, okay, that's fine. So I will give you a strong delusion. Isn't this what the Father did at Babel? He sent a strong delusion. He confounded the languages. You're not going to be able to communicate because you're not going to continue doing what you're doing, and I'm not going to say nothing about it. You're not going to continue saying what you're saying, and I'm not going to say something about it. I'm going to say something about this. So Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 23, it starts and it says, and they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. Now, who did he say was going to teach them? He said that the leaders, the priests, were going to teach them. He didn't say I'm expecting the people to know this by themselves. Now, that don't mean they don't have a relationship, and it don't mean he won't communicate. But at this time, they're being trained for something. Training usually happens through a leader. And then you become the leader that trains, right? But in the meantime and in between time, you have to be trained to know the difference between the holy and the profane, and the difference between the clean and the unclean. The Father desires to make a distinction. He wants to split, draw the line so that you're not split in who you are. You're not split in your service, and he don't want split service. He don't want you to serve other gods and try to serve him at the same time. And a lot of you don't understand, but the things that you're doing and the way that you're going about what you're going about, you are putting things before him. This is why you're split. This is why you're angry. This is why you're confused. This is why darkness has entered you. And now you have all of these different things operating in you that come out of you at these different sporadic times. And you don't understand, why am I dealing with this? Why is this an issue? Why is that an issue? Because you've allowed an entrance. Because man-made systems belong to the kingdoms of this world. And there is a God of the kingdom systems of the world. Hasatan is the God of the systems of the world that he presents to all of us. And that doesn't mean that you won't go and be great. But can you do it on YAHS terms? Can you do it on his terms so that he will be glorified? Can you do it on his terms? Can he make all things beautiful in their time? Can you allow him to process you so that he can use you properly? Can he train you so that he can send you? Come on now. Can he test you for where you're being taken? Or do you just want to go because you want what you want, the way that you want, because you want to look a certain way and you want to be positioned a certain way? You're trying to compete with those that are outside in the world. You're trying to compete with others in the world, and you're not even their competition. Sons ain't competing with world systems, people in world systems. Yeah, I got to put the light back on it because that shadow is taking my hair away. Sons are not competing. Sons of the kingdom of the kingdom of Yah are not competing with sons in the kingdom of darkness. Can y'all make that make sense? That's not what we're doing here. That's not your purpose as a person, to compete with the people in the systems of darkness. That's not your purpose. It says in verse 24, and in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes and all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. He's giving the law. He's laying it down. He's saying this is what needs to happen, and this is what they're going to teach. And if there's judgment that needs to happen, there's going to be judgment. Are you listening to what I'm saying? If there's judgment that needs to happen, there is going to be judgment. People don't like judgment when it comes down. Oh, can't nobody judge me but Yah. No, that's not true. There are judges in the earth. Sons are judges. We're supposed to be judging things and letting you know that ain't order. That's not how that works. But many of you don't want to hear that. This is why you put your fingers in your ears and cover your eyes, because if I don't see it and I don't hear it, then I'm not responsible for it. And you absolutely are. The fact that you're covering your ears and covering your eyes makes you responsible for what is being said, even if you miss it. If you missed a moment, it's not because it didn't manifest. It's because you decided not to accept the moment. You understand what I'm saying? 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17 says, wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yah. I'm reading from 2 Corinthians now. I was in Ezekiel chapter 44. I was in Ezekiel 44, verses 23 and 24. We're talking about the difference, the distinction. We're talking about how the Father separated things so that you don't have to be separated internally and be all discombobulated and confused, because the confusion is coming as a result of Babylon, of the mixing. The mystery of confusion is being mixed. And so now you're confused. Spiritual confusion. Okay? I'm in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17 now, and it's also stated in other places, but I'm going to read this one tonight, and maybe I'll go into Revelation tomorrow if it's not already in my notes. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith Yah, and touch not the unclean thing. Did y'all hear that? I'm going to look at it again. He said, wherefore come out from among them. Now, I'm going to read what's before that. Because this is invaluable information. And so you remember I told you that it is important for you to have the context of a conversation. The context without the context is not applicable. It's not good for application. It's not good for practicality, okay? Let's look at this. He's talking, Paul is talking, and I'm going to go past some things because I want you to read it on your time. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. I'm going to come down to verse 11. Come on. 6:11. O ye Corinthians, our mouth is open up to you. He's talking about the leadership. Our heart is enlarged. I'm going to read it again. 2 Corinthians 6:11. This is leadership speaking. The Father has already made the distinction between light and darkness. Now he brings sons on the scene to continue to perpetuate the difference. He says, our heart is enlarged. Our mouth is open unto you. Ye are not straitened in us, but ye are straitened in your own bowels. Okay? Ye are not straitened. Look up this word straitened. I want you to have some clarity. It's a word in the Greek that means to be in a narrow place. Okay? He's saying we're not confining you, but you need to bring constraint within your spirit. Okay? You need to come into the narrow place. You know, the word says broad is the way that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to eternal life. It's a compressed place. He said, we're not putting any restraints on. We're not trying to cramp you. We're not trying to compress you. Okay. You need to be constrained in your own spirit. All right. This is what he further says. This is what he further says. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 6:13. Now for a recompense in the same, I speak as unto my children. Be ye also enlarged. Okay, as you are coming into that place of straightness, as you are straightening out, you need to understand expansion. In the straightened place, there's a necessity for expansion. So now there's a place of enlargement that you need to come into. Now, as you're coming into this place, let me give you the parameters. This is the place that most people don't like. This is where you're getting confused at, because you want what you want, but you don't want the instructions that go with what you're asking for. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. You want what you want, but you don't want the instructions for what you're asking for. And that's a dangerous place. That's a dangerous place. You got me. 2 Corinthians. Did you find me, Elder? 2 Corinthians. I am in verse 14 now. This is the instruction. He says, now for recompense in the same, I speak to you as unto my children, be ye also enlarged. It's time for your enlargement. It's time for your advancement. Now we've given you some parameters, right? And now it's time for you to expand. It's time for you to be enlarged. The first thing I'm going to give you, Paul says, is be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Now, this does not mean, that we will not find ourselves in places, because the master sat with publicans and sinners. So let me clarify, because I already hear the religious mind. Well, how we going to do this and that? You ain't doing that. Okay? So let's just be real with it, sons. Let's just be real with it, people, y'all. Calling yourself sons. That ain't what you doing. The master sat with sinners and publicans because they invited him into that place, because they needed his presence for his power that was going to be made available to them to change. He wasn't invited to the juke joint just to come look at titties and behind. Okay? You're not getting ready to say that he sent you in there for that. You're not getting ready to do that. You're not getting ready to go and say that you're about to go into a whole realm of darkness and act like it's just no big deal. One of the problems why so many people are so messed up right now in their spirit, one of the problems why you can't hear, one of the problems why you feel like you're not receiving what you think you should be receiving, is because you have put yourself in a place of confusion, because you don't have any honor for the God that you say you serve. Parents always know better than children. Somebody put that in the comment section. Parents always. If it's a question to be answered, parents always know better. If they're operating in their parental authority, if they're operating in the measure that the Father has given them, parents always know better than the children. They've lived longer. They've had more experiences. There is something that they're bringing to the table that you have never even encountered yet. So how can you say you have a better way? How can you think you know the way when you've never been there? You've never been in the way. It's the same thing with the Father. He's saying, everywhere you are ever going to traverse, I have already been in that place. I am an existing one. I am the existing one. I am in all places at all times. I have seen all things already. And so when I'm saying to you, no, it's not for you to throw a fit. It's for you to find out where I am blessing, what I do want to put my name on, where I do want you to come into this enlarged place. Okay? So we know that the master sat with publicans and sinners. This can't be what he's talking about. He said, don't be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? Now, this is a place of judge. This is a place where you're going to have to discern some things. It's a place where you're going to have to identify some things in order to know where you should be and where you ain't got no business. Let's look at what an unbeliever is. Let's look at it. Do not be unequally yoked. Let's look at that first. Unequally yoked. Heterogeo, right? To come under a yoke. to have fellowship with one who is not an equal. Okay? You know, the word begin to have conversations in 2 Corinthians 6:14, which is where we are. This is where we are, right? That conversation is forbidding believers to have intercourse with idolaters. Uh-oh. We done messed ourselves up there, didn't we? Because we all done got ourselves in that fix, right? He said, now it's time for your enlargement, but the first thing you're going to need to do is stop having sex with people that ain't believers. Do not be engaged in intercourse with people who are not your equal. You don't have fellowship with darkness. You're righteous. You don't have fellowship with unrighteousness because this is a contract. This is a transaction. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying tonight? This is a transaction. I know some of y'all tired, right? Some of y'all tired already, but you can watch TV for 4 hours. But the moment the Father sends a word for your rescue, you're unable to bear it. This is why the Master would say often, I got some other things I want to tell you, but you ain't ready for it. Paul said the same thing. I got things I want to say to you, but you are carnal. You are carnal. You're not able to handle the truth. You don't want to hear what's getting ready to be said. You want to you just want to go along to get along. And can I tell you something? You cannot be a son of the Most High God and be in a place of normal. Go along to get along. That was not even your purpose. Okay? That's not in the scope of your purpose. He said the first thing you're going to need to do is you're coming into this enlarged place. Oh boy, that means we got to clear our environments. We got to clear ourselves of environments that have been created in us based on the environments that we've connected ourselves to. Just on an intimate level, whether sexually or figuratively, there's been an intimate yoking. You know, you don't put an ass with an ox. You understand what I'm saying? You don't put an ass with an ox to till the ground because that's uneven. It's unequal. They don't even have the same mindset. The ass wants to do what it wants to do. The ox understands the burden. Oh my, that was a word for somebody. The ass wants to do whatever it wants to do. It'll stop and try to find a shoe to chew on. It'll start chewing the rope. It'll start doing anything. But the ox understands the burden that's been given to it and the workload. Are you hearing what I'm saying? The ox understands the workload. It takes on the responsibility. And what it needs is an equal in order for the work to be easy. Oh my God. I feel like I got on a tie. The ox needs an ox. It needs an equal in order for the work to be easy. It's going to be hard for an ox to work with an ass. Are you listening to me? It's going to be very difficult because that never works. The ass wants to go in another direction and the ox understands the responsibility. It understands the burden. Can I tell y'all something? Do not connect yourself with asses in this season. You're going to need an ox for the yoke in this season. You're going to need an ox, not an ass. Okay? Said don't be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Let's look at the word unbelievers. Apistos in the Greek. It means unfaithful. Oh my. So that don't just include people that's in the world, just quote unquote, but it's speaking of a carnal person, period. The word says unfaithful, faithless. People that cannot be trusted. Incredible. What is this incredulous and incredible thing about? Without trust in Yah. Unbelieving. What is this thing about incredible? In other words, there are things that have presented themselves that prove that Yah is faithful, but you still don't believe. You still questioning. Anything that's being said, you still think, oh, well, we'll see, any of that. It's faithless. How many things does the Father have to do in order to prove to you? Why is he having to prove something to you? Why is the Father having to prove anything to you? He's been proving things to you your entire life. Your entire existence is a proof of God. It's a proof that he exists. It's a proof that you're loved. It's a proof that you're not abandoned. It's a proof that you've been chosen. It's a proof that there is purpose. Your very existence highlights that fact. So what's your question? What's your question? If he's given an instruction, I'm reading 2 Corinthians, right? If he's given an instruction, then what the hell is your question? I'm really exhausted of people in this season. It's not just one person, it's a multitude of people. It's like an overwhelming, it's 2:34 on my clock right now. It's an overwhelming response of like the father he owed me an explanation. I don't understand why he doing what he doing. How about you so crazy, you think you the potter and he the clay. But the word says that the clay never asked the potter, what are you making? What are you doing? It just lays there and allows itself to be shaped. It allows itself to be made the vessel that can be used. It doesn't have a conversation about the transaction that's taking place. What's your question? Right. What's your question? What is your question? He's saying go left and you want to go right. What's your question? He's using small things to train you so that when you get to some bigger things, your senses will be trained to know what direction you should go in, how you should move, and what you should do. He's using small things. But you can't even get to the small stuff because you're questioning the small things. You're questioning basic faith. We're going to talk about faith in a minute. I'm not going to jump ahead of myself. We're in 2 Corinthians. I'm going back there. Incredible. He's showing you who he is. The Bible calls it an infidel, a faithless person, an unbeliever. So can you call yourself a son if you're faithless? Because the Bible says you're an infidel. That goes for any of us. If the Father is telling me to go and do a thing and I'm saying, well, Father, I don't have the capacity for that. I don't think I have the knowledge that I need for that. I don't think faithless. You remember what he said to the disciples? How long do I have to be with you? Oh, faithless and perverse generation. How long? This is the master's word. How long I got to do this? Because I know I keep showing you. It's the same thing the Father was saying in the wilderness. What in the world is going on? Now, I done brought you through the Red Sea. I done brought you out of Egypt. You spoiled the Egyptians. You didn't just leave Egypt broke, busted, and disgusted. You had new clothes. You had gold. You had diamonds. You had jewelry. You had everything that you would need. I even healed your bodies. And you come out of there like you in charge of something? Can I tell y'all something? I'm going to go back to something that the Father said earlier. Check yourself. Take heed to yourself. You boasted about who you think you are, but you need to take heed to yourself because anything that you are is because of the grace of the living God. It's because of the grace of Yah. It's not just you on your own reconnaissance. You ain't got nothing going on your own reconnaissance or else you would never need him. He has put you in a position to need him. And if you say you don't need him and you do it yourself, then you're a fool. Because help has been provided. Not only help, but the best answer, the best information, the best direction has been given to you. And you're choosing another way. That's a fool. He said, don't be unequal yoke with infidels. He said about a man that won't take care of his own house is worse than an unbeliever, an infidel. Y'all remember that? Without trusting God, a heathen, untrustworthy. He said, if you can't believe me, you are not trustworthy. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Y'all, we got to make some corrections. If this is speaking to you tonight, all you got to do is make the correction. This is not to badger you, and it's not to convict you either. It's to convince you that the Father is good. It's to convince you. That's what the Holy Spirit is for, to convince you, to bring you into the truth, to convince you, to correct your mindset. You're feeling condemned because you don't want to make the correction. Somebody put that in the chat window. The only reason you feel condemned is because you don't want to make the correction. The only time you feel condemned is because you don't want to make the correction. Hello. The only time you're going to feel condemned about what the Father is saying, because he's not saying what he's saying to condemn you. Neither are his sons, not gender specific. Neither are his servants, his mouthpieces, saying what they're saying to condemn you. Condemnation is not a part of the work of the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I know I just threw a curveball to you, right? Because that's what you've been told. The Holy Spirit comes to convict you. No, this is not, you're not on trial. You're not being judged. The blood has already laid down the verdict. You're only judged, you're only condemned if you don't receive the verdict. You condemn yourself. The Holy Spirit doesn't condemn anybody. You condemn yourself by not accepting the already given sentence concerning your situation. What's the verdict? The blood covered. The blood was shed. The verdict is the blood. So if the verdict is the blood, then you don't have to feel condemned when you are corrected. And the only reason you're going to feel condemned is because you don't want to correct it. It's simple. This ain't hard. It's simple, y'all. You feel some kind of way because you're refusing to correct your manner. The way you're functioning, you don't want to correct it. And guess what? Don't correct it and reap the benefits of that. Reap not benefits. Reap the consequence of not making the correction. Because can I tell you something? There's a whole lot of people lining up to purchase, to get a timeshare in lakefront property. And you're not going to go to the lake of fire because of what you've done. But you're certainly going to go for what you've become. And if you become an opposer to God, lakefront property is your portion. If you become one that opposes him, you just picked up your keys and your deed for your lakefront property. Okay? If you want to stand in opposition, if he's saying this is what it is and you want to call him a liar, and you want to say that the move of his spirit is something other than that, that him communicating with you, the way he's communicating with you ain't that and it ain't this and that, you better be very careful in this season, because we're in the season of the opening. We're in the age of the opening, but we're definitely in the decade. Pay that number 80, 57, 80 in the Hebrew calendar. When 80 came in, that was 2020. When that came in, 57, 80, it was the decade of the opening. Something new had come on the scene. And this opening ain't just good stuff. That's why things look so crazy. That's why it's almost like it's pixie dust over y'all. I'm wilded out. I really am. Because I'm listening to the words that people are speaking. I'm looking at people's movement. I'm like, is it pixie dust in the air? Are y'all smoking something? What is going on? Something is wrong here. Paul said it like this: who has bewitched you? Why are you in this place? What are you functioning? What place are you functioning from? How are you operating? 2 Corinthians 6:17. I'm going back to that. Come out from among them. So yes, the Father wants to make your name great. If you get out the way and stop trying to make your name great, he can do that. And when he makes your name great, then he gets the glory ultimately, because men are going to see your good works. And they're going to glorify him. Well, why are they going to glorify him? Because they know you couldn't do that on your own. And you're going to say, oh, all the glory belongs to him. Yeah, I'm gifted, but he gave it to me. Yeah, I did that, but it was his glory. It was his doing in me that created that sound. It was him all along in me. The hope of glory, the hope of doings. You hear what I'm saying? The expectation of great things happening. It's him in me. If you trying to go by yourself, you a bad mama jamma. If you think you about to go into the realms of darkness, just on some, oh, it's business as usual, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. A peculiar people. He was always trying to do this separation. He chose a nation out of all the other nations, 72 nations. And he chooses a nation that's small, that seems insignificant, to put his name on it and to prove to the world who he is in any situation. I don't need a big thing. Father said, I don't need a big thing. You know, there's going to come a time where there might be an inundation of different people viewing, and it might be a whole lot of people that view this video even after I get off. But I'm not impressed by the number of people that jumped on when I jumped on, because to them I'm nobody, but to him I'm everything for this season. You hear what I'm saying? So I follow my assignment. I don't follow the numbers. I follow my purpose. I'm not interested in the numbers. I'm interested in fulfilling my purpose, because as I'm fulfilling my purpose, he's going to make my name great, because it's for his name's sake that I be great. He's obligated to make me great as a son because it looks good on him. My greatness looks good on God. Somebody put that in the chat window. My greatness looks good on God. Huh? Listen, you got to know that. Huh? My greatness looks good on God. Period. Point blank. If I'm great, he looks good because I'm a son. You understand? But I have to position myself. I have to allow myself to be positioned. I have to allow myself to be trained for where I'm being taken. My greatness looks good on God. Here's another key verse. Revelation. I did put it in my notes for tonight. That's it, Elder. Put it in there. Point blank. You hear me? My greatness looks good on God. So it ain't no more of that mediocre thought process. Y'all come on out of your mediocre. So it's funny how church people function, because you got people from one extreme to the other. There is no balance in what the Father is saying. It's either one extreme or the other. You either got people that want to be in this place of, well, I don't really need a whole lot. Well, I don't really need to be rich. And I don't need, how you don't need to be rich? And it's people that's on the street need a place to live. How you don't need to be rich and people hungry every day? How you don't need to be rich and he's calling you to be a lender and not a borrower? How don't you need to be great? How don't you need to be rich? How don't you need to be great? When people are going to need to see your good works in order to see him. How don't you need to be great? Oh, I'm good in the background. I'm just good. No, you have your season of background. But every leader has their season of background, and then they have to be brought to the front because it's something that you're carrying that somebody's going to need. I know that threw somebody off too, because you just think you're the background person. That's why you're so willing to sing background for the greats, because as long as you on the background with the greats, then you look great. But the Father's saying you already great. I'm bringing you to the forefront. You trying to get on the background, and I'm trying to make you the lead. But you're so interested in being background, you don't understand what I'm bringing you to is greater than what they are doing, than what has been done. I'm giving you a sound. I'm giving you something specific. And you're so adamant about using what I'm giving you to make some other name great besides mine. Revelation 18:4. I refuse to walk in that place in this season. Only reason I'm making great in this season is y'all. Now, people might benefit from that great that's on me, but I'm not going to make you great. I'm not trying to make you great. I'm trying to make him great. I'm trying to make his name great. Okay? When I say great, I'm trying to magnify his name. I'm trying to make it better seen. Okay? Because when they see me, they need to see him. And if that's not the case, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a son. Therefore, why should he give to me any position? And I'm trying to act like I'm representing him. How? How do you represent somebody without representing them? How can a lawyer say they represent you and never come to the court? How can a lawyer say that they are your attorney but never give you advice? You gonna pay the attorney, they represent you, but never give you advice and never show up at court to defend you? Or really? Y'all make it make sense, because it doesn't. Make it make sense. And I heard another voice from heaven. John is saying this, saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. See, when you go into her, and I got some conversation for this. I really want my daughter to get back on, because I believe in that it's going to work, because I got this earpiece in, and I just believe it's going to work. Just make sure all your stuff is close. I want you to get back on, because I want to have this conversation, because this is a mother-daughter moment, while it's a moment with all the other sons and daughters, all right? He said, so that you don't be partakers of her sin. You know, the word said that if you lay with a harlot, you become one with her. Well, what is a harlot? See, because you're so religious and you're so churched, you think a harlot is just a hoe, somebody that sleeps around. But what the Father is referring to a harlot as is somebody who is not sold out to him, who has given themselves to other ideas and other concepts and has no focus or intention on giving him who they are so that they can become in the earth what he desires for them to be. That's a whore. It's spiritual promiscuity is what it is. That's what he was talking to me about a couple of weeks ago. The spiritually promiscuous. Yeah, it's a new language for me too. Spiritual promiscuity. You are sleeping with all the other gods. You have made all of these idols, and you are going in and out of these idols, producing these different things and allowing things to be produced in you. Come back on for a minute, Des. He said that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not her plagues. Didn't he call the children out of, didn't he separate them at a certain point? At first they were receiving the plagues. You know why? Because they had sinned, and because they had sinned against him, and because they had made idols and were serving these other idols, they had to deal with the repercussions of that. But then he made a separation between them and Egypt, right? And when he made a separation between them and the Egyptians or the Mizraim, he was separating. He made a distinction. And then he called her out of that place so that they would no longer be partakers of her sins. No longer would they receive of her plagues or those outcomes because they were no longer to be there. So the question is, who is her? I think I'm going to end it at 3 hours because I need y'all to be able to consume this. And I'll answer questions at the 3 hour mark. So in 6 minutes, I'm going to start answering questions. Who is her? The question is, who is her? Who is she? And how did you get in her? And then how do you get out of her? Huh? These are questions that we got to answer. Who is her? Her is Babylon. Okay? Mystery Babylon. Put it in the chat window. Mystery Babylon. That's what we're gonna pick up tomorrow. The mother of confusion. The mixing. The mystery of confusion. This is confusion by mixing. This is how she functions. There's truth, but it's mixed in with all of this wickedness, and so it makes it a whole nother situation. Okay, brother. Hey, you. I didn't know you was at work. That's what you was trying to call me for earlier, probably. Listen, the question is, who is she? Who is her? Come out of her. What does that mean? Come out of her. How did I get in her? And how do I get out of her? Now, I'm a transparent leader. So one of the things that came up in my mind when I read the how did I get in her was how we used to do when I was younger. Yeah, Mystery Babylon. When we were younger and we were promiscuous, I'm talking to promiscuous saints right now. I ain't talking to the ones that were still virgins, okay? Because y'all don't know what I'm talking about, and it's okay. You had your path and I had mine. Hallelujah. What we would do, because we didn't want to make it be known that we was having sex, right? So the way to avoid having saying, like this is sex is just, you just gonna just put the tip of something in, right? Not gonna go all the way, right? But it never ends that's never the outcome of it, right? And so this is how the enemy does what he does, because it's that same concept. We're not going to have sex. I'm just going to put the tip in, right? And so once you put the tip in, it's a wrap, because now everybody is engulfed in this moment. And now passion and lust is burning, right? We got to go all the way now. What you talking about, tip? No, just go ahead. Just, and the tip get further and further. Everybody just like, well, just go ahead and do it, right? That's how the enemy works. That's how Mystery Babylon works. She's like, It's just a little bit. I'm just going to mix a little bit in. I'm just going to put a little bit of Gnostic conversation in. I'm just going to put a little bit of carnality. I'm just going to put a little bit of carnal in this, right? And then at the end of it, it's all a mess. You off somewhere with some foreign doctrine. You don't even know what the heck you believe no more because you didn't laid down in all these contracts and now all this stuff is entered you. We're going to deal with this thing tomorrow because we got to cast these things out. We got to deal with these spirits, with these contracts that you've made because you're operating based on these contracts that you have internalized, that you have become a host for these contracts. And so now your whole life is surrounded by these contracts. And now the Father's trying to bring you in a new contract, but you got to cancel all these other contracts. And so what is he doing? He said, with loving kindness have I drawn you. So now I'm getting ready to show you I'm still God. I'm going to send somebody to speak over your life, to say something to you. You might not believe it. You might not believe it. I'm talking to people that I love now. Some people that I love, even family. Speaking some things to you. You didn't believe it. Oh, no, I ain't trying to hear that. Oh, I'm frustrated. I'm bent out of shape. I don't really want to hear that. I'm not in that place. I'm tired of this. This was respectfully speaking. I'm over that. Okay, that's fine. I'm no longer talking to you about it. I'm going to talk to him about it. And you're going to see that what I said was factual. You're going to see that what I said was him all along. And you really could have been further along in this process. This could have happened a long time ago. But because you began to get in a position of rejecting your help. How do you get to a place where you reject the help? Because you got other contracts going on. It's other things working in you. She has her whole face, right, Sophia? Yeah. Yeah, you got all these other contracts that work in you, and so now you're confused, and there's too many voices speaking to you. It's too much talking to you. And now the Father is showing you with loving kindness, I'm doing this. Now, don't you come out of this contract and take your crazy butt somewhere and get it. I'm talking to me. You understand what I'm saying? I've done this. I literally did a live some years ago, and the title of the message was, Don't You Do It. Oh my God. I'm going to post it up for y'all when we get off this live. Don't you do it. Had a whole dream. The Father was talking to me about these counterfeits. And how in the dream I got one counterfeit and got into another counterfeit. And when I tell you, lo and behold, my natural life followed that pattern because I did not follow the dream. I preached the message though, but I missed the moment, okay? Because of what I was surrounded by. I missed the moment. You hear me? Don't miss the moment. Oh my God, Elder, you remember that? Okay, I'm gonna bring my baby on for a minute because I know she got some stuff to say, and I'm open for questions. I know it's only a few of y'all on here, but even those of you come on after the fact, you can put your questions in the box, or you can put it in just DM me and I'll answer the questions. I'll do a whole nother live just to answer those questions. Even if we're outside of this presentation, I will still answer the questions. All right. So feel free to ask questions, ask away. And if y'all need to invite somebody, invite them. Ask them if they got spiritual questions, they can ask it. If it's dream interpretation, whatever it is, if you need to get on the live to ask it, I will send you the link so you can get on the live and tell me the dream so we can interpret the dream. Okay. I'm going to open that up in this season because a lot of y'all are dreaming and you don't know what the heck you're dreaming. So you're assuming, and an ass makes a fool out of you and whoever else. Right. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to assume in this season. We're going to know some things so that we'll know how to function when things are coming up. Okay. I'll mute for a minute.
Hey. So you were talking about, I was hearing you talk about like how the scenario of, just a little bit, like just put the dip in and all, how that is. And it's crazy that you say that because I was literally just saying this same thing in another conversation, just laughing about it like, wow, I've come a long way. I remember when these things were presented to me and I'm like, no, we're not finna do that. Because what that's going to lead to is exactly what you said. It's a lust. It's a lustful spirit. It's a lustful, I'm doing this because it feels good. But it's what feels good at that moment, is that going to benefit you in the long run?
Is it going to glorify
You
the
need
Father,
to,
first of
you
all? Is it
thank
going
you.
to glorify him?
And listen, and that's what I'm saying. Will that thing that you're doing right now, because that feels good to you, will it benefit you in the long run? So all these feelings, see, a lot of us base things off
Talk
of,
about them feelings.
yeah,
Talk about them feelings.
a lot of people do things based off of how we feel. We go off of, oh, this make me feel good, or oh, that feels so good, or oh, this tastes so good. And you shouldn't even be consuming that. That shouldn't even be, you shouldn't even be laying down with that. You get what I'm saying? And you trying to figure out, oh, why is all these things? And oh, wow, that's God. That's really the Lord. A lot of us are dabbling in witchcraft. We have things in our homes, different things that we are doing, different things that we are practicing, and then we're saying, oh, we serve Yah. We serve the true and living God. How can you be serving the true and living God talking about the universe and my ancestors and all these things? You got a bowl in your house and you and doing all that extra stuff. You doing sage all around your house, doing all this over yourself. You got crystals on your neck doing the most. What are you worshiping? What are we worshiping? No, honestly. Goes back to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because what are you consuming? You will be what you consume. You will
Say it
have
again. You are what you eat, baby.
period. So my thing is, if you walking around with all this stuff in your house or on your egg, or you're consuming these things and you watching this and watching that, you going to watch somebody tell you a horoscope. You going to watch the horoscope. You going to watch somebody tell you what God can tell you. What you already know, it's already in you, honey. What you going to look at somebody else say what you already know. The Holy Spirit lives within you. He's saying it to you. So niggas talk, come on. Negroes talking about what's spirit? What is spirit? What spirit are you operating in? Spirit is saying, what is spirit saying? You going to watch these horoscopes and they talking about what spirit is saying. What is spirit? What
Yeah,
spirit are they operating
identify,
in?
please authenticate the spirit
Listen,
you're talking
what
about.
spirit are they even operating in? Where are they getting this information from? Because trust and believe, just as the Father sees, the enemy is also seeing and hearing the things that people are saying, because some of you niggas talk too much. We need to learn how to be
She's
quiet.
definitely my child. Definitely my child. They go that N word.
We need to learn how to be quiet. And listen, we are in a season where silence is key. Be quiet. You're talking too much. This is why you can't hear anything. This is why you can't operate the way you need to, because you're speaking too much. Shut up. Shut up.
Hey, Danny, I love you, girl. That's
If
a
you
fact.
just be quiet for
And
5
I'm going to
seconds.
tell you something. And I'm going to tell you something. Because that's how manifestation happened just recently, on a couple of fronts, in people's lives around me. Because I got to the point
Same
where I
here.
was like, I'm not getting ready to tussle with you.
I'm not getting ready to tussle. I'm not about to get ready
I
to go
know
back
what
and
I
forth with
know.
you.
I know what I know. I know who I know. And I'm not
And
getting
on
ready to
top of
go
that,
back
you know who I am because he showed you who I am.
and you said who I was. So
Thank you.
I'm not getting ready going back. I'm not getting ready to go back and forth with you over this thing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut up and I'm
Yep.
gonna let Yah be Yah, and I'm gonna let him send you somebody to talk to you about what I'm telling you. And lo and behold, if he didn't
That's
in the
what happens
same
every time.
hour, in the same day that I said it, sent two
It happens.
people to say something to them that I had already said. And in the same hours, now something new coming up. An answer that I already said. The answer's here. The answer's coming. Just relax. Don't trip. Y'all got this already done. All you got to do is walk it out. Just be patient. Lay back. Relax.
But you Negroes still not listening, and then blaming it on the Father and his sender. It becomes the prophet's fault.
Oh
That
God.
something, come on.
Oh
We're not
God.
talking about false prophets. We're
No.
talking about prophets that he is sending. It becomes the prophet's fault that what was said would happen. Now you like, well, it ain't happening. I ain't seeing it. So now the prophet's a liar. No, it didn't happen because one, you didn't believe. Two, you weren't in a position to receive it. And three, you didn't accept what the prophet was saying when it came out of the prophet's mouth to begin with. You rejected
Wow.
that thing.
Wow. So you missed the moment, like we
You
started
missed
out.
it.
You missed the moment.
It was quick.
Moments are happening around us all day, every day.
These
And
moments are coming like a thief in the night, honey. You won't see them
listen,
coming. You better
listen.
be up. You better be alert, ears open.
It's his portion for his sons that we have moments. The word talks about times and seasons. It also talks about opportunities. That time and chance happen to us all. In other words, there are opportunities, there are windows, there are now. Okay, go ahead. There are
Yeah,
those moments. And if you miss the moment, then you got to wait till that thing come back around again.
gotta wait.
Are you really
And
getting ready to
listen,
take,
and that's if it comes back
and
around again.
that's
Because in
if it
order
comes,
for it to come back around, honey, you have to humble yourself. You have to come humble, but also bold before the throne with your
yeah,
problem, saying, Lord, I
I
messed
did
up.
that.
I
I
got
did that.
so far deep into this thing that, Lord, the only way I'm going to get out is you.
So I'm
You can't
listening.
get yourself out of that thing,
I'm
honey.
open. I'm open. I'm listening.
Stop trying to get yourself out of it. You already got yourself in it and messed it up. How you gonna get yourself out of what you put yourself in? You submit yourself to the Father. That's how you gonna get out.
You just gave a word right there because the word says, submit yourself to God and the enemy will flee.
Yeah,
That's the combination for
yeah,
freedom.
yeah,
From any demonic entity, from
yeah.
any unauthorized situation, the word says, submit yourself also to the Father and resist the devil,
And he'll flee.
resist the enemy. And guess
Yep,
what he's going to do? But see, like I said before, you're still making contracts. If you
yep.
continue to make contracts in enemy territory, you continue to be bound.
And another
And
thing you have to realize too is that at the end of the day, at the end of the day, just as quick as that message comes in, that's as quick as the enemy coming to try to steal it. So what you have to do is you have to put yourself in a position where you are rooted and grounded in the Father,
that's so
in his
good.
seed.
That's a fact.
The seed that you have to reap, honey. Sometimes we have to replant something that's already planted. You have to
That's it,
dig
Elder
that
James
plant up,
chapter 4.
dig that plant up and move it to somewhere else, honey. Because that dirt, that soil, it ain't growing there no more. It's time to replant that thing. Okay? Because at the end of the day, what you don't understand is you're not dead. You're not dead. That flower is still on that plant, but it's not growing because it's not receiving any sun. It's not receiving any water. It's in a dry
Or
land, in a dry place.
the pot might be too small. Sometimes you got to
That
replant because the
too.
plant is grown, and if you don't replant it or repot it, then it can no longer grow. It's
My
stunted.
thing
It
is,
stops
if
its
it's a
growth.
tree,
Stop.
say you're a tree and you're in a pot, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, that tree, like she's saying, at some point that tree has to come out of that pot, and you got to plant that thing in the ground. You have to dig that hole. That hole go deep for
You
you
got
to
to
dig that
establish it.
hole.
It's got to be established. That's
It
what
got
the
to be.
digging it all. You're establishing it in a place.
You got to, honey. It got to be replanted. And you have to be that you got to put yourself in a whole nother position. You have to be willing to accept that change.
But change comes with humility. Is the beginning of change, and it's the same thing with
Acceptance
it's
is
the
the
same
beginning
thing
of
with
change as
prayer.
well. The
It's
acceptance
this,
is
yeah.
change.
It's this. That's exactly right, and that's in our notes. That's
Yep.
definitely in our
Because my
notes.
thing is, if you're not accepting it, it's not gonna happen. It
If
won't.
you don't own it, can't nothing change.
It won't.
If you don't acknowledge where you are, you said this earlier, and that's one of my things. You got to look around. You got to acknowledge. If you get lost, it reminds me of when I was driving my van, and I remember I was doing this route and I got lost.
Mm-hmm.
And the Father said, "Look at the signs." That's all I remember him saying. He said,
See,
"Look." It was
as
so
I said,
prophetic.
see the signs.
I was like, he said, "Look at the signs," and I'm thinking, I don't even know what I'm looking at. He said, "It don't matter. Look at the signs."
I preached about see the signs like a
Listen.
couple years ago, and he was
Mm-hmm.
just giving me stuff from child TV shows that they tried to corrupt, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that we were
Mm-hmm.
watching. But he showed me this
That's
song
good,
that,
Elder.
you know, that I think I remember reminding you of it. This song that Chris Brown sang in Sesame Street, and it was called
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With Elmo.
See the
With
Sign.
Elmo.
And at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, and he was making it so prophetic. Like, all you gotta do
Mm-hmm.
is
It was prophetic.
come take a walk with me.
Come take a walk
It's
with me.
beautiful out here over where I'm at. We can go out here
Mm-hmm.
and make something of this. You can see what you can be out of this.
That's a fact.
All you gotta do
Yeah.
is see the signs. They're everywhere.
And take a walk with me.
It's enter here and exit there.
And enter and exit there. I remember it. Yeah. Remind me to pull
And
it up because I'll
this
put
is
it
the
up
thing.
tomorrow.
Then it say, these are the signs that you already know.
You
So it's
already
not like
know.
it's something that you don't know.
So this goes to the fact that a lot of people feel like, oh well, the Father don't speak to me. No, that's not
Right.
true. That's not true. He's spoken already.
It's already done.
If
He's
you
already
didn't, if
said
you
it.
didn't acknowledge
You
what he
just ain't
first
heard it
said,
because you ain't listening.
if you didn't acknowledge what he said when he said it, if you didn't put any value or any stock in him speaking to you, then why is he still going to talk to you?
He's not.
Do you talk to people that ain't listening to you? Come on now. Let's just be real transparent and real, okay? Do you keep talking to people that's ignoring you?
Nope.
Can you hold a conversation with somebody that's not responding? Can you get anywhere with a non-responsive person? Can I tell y'all something? Y'all have put yourselves in so many contracts and your insides are so turned inside out that you don't even know that when you should be responding.
Wow.
You don't even know when you should be responding. The grace, the favor, all of that is upon you. It's in your midst and you don't even know how to respond to it. You don't even know how to respond to it because
You
you've
don't
been
know
so
when to
overcome by
respond.
evil.
You don't know when to respond and when not to respond. You
Because
talking when you ain't supposed to be talking.
that's
And when you're
it.
supposed to be talking, you ain't
You ain't saying
nothing at all.
nothing.
That's the issue. I'm gonna listen.
That's a
I gotta
fact.
hop out here a minute, y'all, because I'm listening from here.
Listen,
Honey, we
that's
gonna
real.
get back on here, and it's
Yeah, tomorrow we got to finish up.
We gonna pull it together, but the Father is using on tonight.
Yeah,
Honey,
he said that he's doing what he do.
that's
He's
what he
doing what he
does.
do.
But
Anybody got any questions, real quick, while I got her on here
we
too?
the same. We're the same as him. So how when we be
Yeah.
like we trying to talk to somebody and they're not listening to us, and we like, Father,
I mean, I'm not going to keep talking to you and you ain't
Father, go
listening to
ahead,
me.
listen. Father, go ahead and do your thing.
Oh,
That's us giving
Sonny, I
that
love you,
person.
Pastor Sonny. I love you so
That's
much.
us giving that person grace. Be
Thank
like, you
you.
know what, Lord, I really don't want to see this person fall, so I'm just gonna give it to you. So we step back and we let him do it.
That's my
And he
thing.
does
That's
the
where I'm
same.
at.
He does the same thing. You know what? It's not that you haven't, or he ain't said it. You not listening to him. But because he loves you, and you have people that's praying for you, and all these interceders over your life that you don't even realize.
And then you got to be careful who you let pray for you, because you know what?
He like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and send my people to go and tell them exactly what I've been trying to tell them, and they gonna be like, the Father just said that the other day, and I wasn't listening. And then
You
they gonna
hope that's what they be
looking
like.
stupid. And it's
You
gonna
hope
be,
that's what
how
they
many
be
times
like.
do I have to try to show you who I am when you already know? You already know.
Listen.
See, he's talking to his people right now. I'm not even gonna hold
He is. He talking to his people. Because like I said, how many times does he have to prove himself? You putting God on trial?
you.
Are you kidding me? He on trial. He on the witness stand. You interrogating the Almighty One.
My
The
thing
all
is,
existing one, the
how can
always
you
exist, the
interrogate
eternally existing
the
one.
creator?
You're interrogating him.
Thank you. The creator of all. He
You kidding
created
me?
you. He created you. How are you questioning him?
And let me make this straight because I know some religious person gonna be like, well, oh, I think my brother trying to come on. Well, we can't ask God
Brother
questions.
about to
You
take
sure?
over. Come on,
No,
Father.
no, he not on. He not on. He not on. That was you down there in the bottom. No, I'm not saying you can't ask the Father questions. He loves it when you come to him and ask him. The
Yeah,
problem
he
is
loves
that
it
you're
when
not.
you come
The
boldly.
problem
Yeah,
is that
no.
you're not asking him anything.
Exactly. But
You're not acknowledging him. That's
thank
the
you.
problem.
Yep.
You're
You are.
not asking anything. You're doing things.
Yep.
And then you want him to come and fix the mess that you made
That you made.
because you didn't inquire. You didn't ask. So I'm not
Right.
talking about that. I'm saying how you going to put the Father on trial? How you put Yah on trial when he say, I'm going to do something for you and you say, we'll see.
Yep. Here I
We'll
know.
see.
How about this? Skip, I'm gonna do it for you. You've been praying for this. Here it go right here. Well, I'm gonna just pray about it. I'm gonna ask
Oh,
God about that. What?
what are you talking about?
What
It's
are you
right
talking about?
here.
It's right here in
It's
front of your
right
face.
now.
But y'all be sitting over here praying, and I'm trying to
Danny,
figure
you
out
put
what
up
are
an
we
angry
praying? What are
face.
you praying to? What are you praying to?
Absolutely. Yeah. What's the prayer about? Because you're supposed to have a spirit of prayer. Prayer is something you do when you're not talking as well. It's a
Okay, Father.
lifestyle.
Okay. All right, Father. What are you praying to?
What
Because
do you, yeah,
the
who are
Father
you
I
talking to?
serve,
Because I don't know who you're
the
talking
Father
to.
I serve, he's doing it right away. He's
Let's
not
go to
waiting.
that. Let's go to that real quick because that's
He's
on the
making
list
it
of,
happen. So what have we been praying to? That
that's the
goes back
list.
to
It does. Humble
checking
yourself.
yourself, honey,
Humble
and
yourself.
where's your spirit at? Because if that thing ain't manifesting and showing right away, whoa, wait a minute. Now my Father, he do it. And I know he does it because every time when I ask him
I've
something,
seen
I'm
him do it.
sitting up shouting a couple hours later, a couple minutes later.
Come on.
Lord, I just
Come
talked
on.
about that. Oh my
Come
God,
on.
the Lord is so good. He's proven
How many
himself.
times has that happened where you were sitting and just thinking on
Thank you.
something and something happened? That's an indication to you that manifestation ain't really that far off from you. It's
Thank
just
you.
that you're missing moments. You're constantly
And it's
missing
just that you
moments.
ain't in the right place or the right position to receive that
You're not. Mm-mm.
manifestation at that time.
What you think is just a fluke. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Yeah.
times people, when they have those responses, oh, that's just a glitch. That's just a fluke. That just happened that time. That
Yeah.
manifestation is something that you have a right to because you're a man, human,
Yep.
mankind. It's a part of who you are.
Of who you are.
Manifestation is your right. You understand what I'm saying? But
Yep.
there's all this Gnostic wind is blown over so many people, and we're in this content without context era, okay? Or without proper context is the order of the day, and it's the formula for acceptance of man-made doctrines, and that's why we're where we are. That's why there's spiritual schizophrenia. That's why you're split. You don't know whether you're coming or going. You don't know if the Father's talking or he's being silent. You don't know if he's going to respond or he's not because you have no expectation because you put nothing in the relationship. Nothing in the relationship. How do you expect something from somebody you don't even relate to? That's like a man wanting to sleep with a woman that has no conversation. There's no exchange of conversation. There's nothing. That's called rape.
Yeah. No, that's true.
That's unlawful. That's not how you should handle that. It's a way to get to that. You don't have to take it. It's methods that you can go through to get to that. You ain't got to do that. You know? So this is the thing that's causing the schizo, the split. The spirit of men this is the problem. It's causing a split in the spirit of men, and there's a lack of adherence to the original words that the Father spoke. That's where the split takes place at. When the Father says something specific and you don't adhere to what he said, but all of these other things are speaking to you, whether it's television, whatever kind of entertainment it is, whether it's people, whether it's your environment, whatever it is, the Father's saying, this is what I'm establishing. and you say, I'm gonna put what you establishing on hold because I'm in this environment and I gotta do thus and so, then you know what? You need to make a decision what you're gonna do. Because you only gonna put the Father on hold for so long before he say, okay, do you. Go ahead and knock yourself out. Do you? Yeah, that's what we do. You're not getting ready to disrespect me forever. I'm not gonna just sit and be disrespected. You're gonna sit and talk crazy to me forever.
Amen.
At some point, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You can have that. Because what we not gonna do, look, I sound like Tyra now. Now, what you're not gonna do is listen.
No, I'm
That's what you.
saying for
That's
real.
what you ain't gonna do. Okay.
This is the thing.
Where you think you get that from?
In this hour, he can either make an example out of your enemies, and that benefits you. He can either make them your footstool, or you could be sitting there
That's it.
at the table with your enemies and them devouring you because
You know
you
what?
sitting there. Listen, because you sitting over there, he's trying to remove you from that, and you sitting over there trying to take them with you.
Listen. When you said example, what came into my spirit was he can make an example of you or out of you. You have to make a decision.
Either
He
way.
can make an example of you or out of you. And one is good and one ain't so good. You know? He can make an example.
But you choose.
You have to choose if he's going to make an example out of you or of you.
Yeah.
Because of you means that he's going to be glorified. His name is on the line. I told you my greatness looked good on God. If you missed that, put it in the comment section. My great look good on God.
Hello.
He wearing my great like a garment because it gives him glory.
Yep.
It brings attention to him. For him to make my name great brings attention to him. He not making me great for my sake. He making me great for his name's sake. Because he made a promise and because he desires other souls to be saved. So he's making his name great for that. Okay?
Amen.
That's amazing. Yep. It's in what you're seeing. It's in what you're hearing. You got to accept, if you accept the alternative viewpoint over what's originally spoken, that's when you wind up in that place of the split. So there are some things that split us, and I'll highlight them when I get to each of them. We're going to start going through those tomorrow. We're going to pick back up on Revelation 18, verse 4, and add a couple more verses to that. But there are some things that split us, and I'm going to highlight those things. It's not an exhaustive list because I left some things off, and I told you what those things were at the beginning. But hearing is crucial. Hearing is crucial.
And will. Amen.
Okay? It's crucial.
I'm
If y'all don't have no questions, do y'all have questions? If you got questions, come on, jump on. Because I was almost tempted to go on again.
Honey, I'm getting ready up here, y'all.
Yes, ma'am. I understand, y'all. Acceptance is the alternative, or acceptance of the alternative, but seeking the assistance of Yah is stupid. I'm going to tell you what stupid is. It's accepting the alternative conversation, but expecting the Father's assistance. Yep. That's stupid. You understand what I'm saying? And we got to stop the stupid.
We got to stop.
Somebody put in the chat window, stop the stupid. Just stop it. Stop the stupid, because that's stupid. I'm going to accept an alternative viewpoint. I'm going to accept an alternative conversation. Do you know that things are spiritual? So one spirit or another is speaking to you. You not just here. This ain't just your mind talking. These thoughts are coming from somewhere. They've entered into you from somewhere. So if you're not speaking on behalf of the Father when you open your mouth, you're speaking on the behalf of the adversary.
Yep.
When you say what you can't do and what you're not going to do, and the Father's saying do, you're speaking on behalf of the adversary. You've been tricked. You've been punked. You've been duped.
It's true.
Period.
It's true.
This is just what it is. You've been tricked. You've been bamboozled into thinking that you just got some bright idea. You're either speaking on behalf of the King of Kings, or you're speaking on behalf of the Prince of the Power of the Air, the whisperer, the one that's trying to give you an alternative view. Stop the stupid.
Stop the stupid.
Yeah. There's not another place. There's not a middle ground. And by you being created a speaking spirit, then what you're speaking has weight and it has authority to create your environment. So if
Yep.
you've been sitting in an environment for a long time, which some of us have experienced this, it's because of what you're saying. I can promise you this right now that I remember standing on my land in Alabama and I began, it was a thing. Like it's almost the way I'm going to open up when I preach in public all the time because it's a place that I want the environment to be in when the Father's word begins to go forth. And I felt like, it was in that season when I kept saying security. Danielle, you remember I used to say security? That was my entryway to calling on angelic assistance because I felt like I was in a place that I didn't want to be in. I felt like I felt like I was under arrest, like something had me under arrest, like I was not functioning in my full potential. But in that season, I remember standing on my 56 acres in Alabama and just singing, let God arise and his enemies be scattered. I mean, just fiercely and forcefully just singing that. Now, understand this. Saying let God arise and his enemies be scattered means that I'm about to go through something. I know you in the chat, baby. But see, the problem is with some of you saying that God ain't speaking or y'all's not talking, but the truth of the matter is you don't like what he's saying. We're going to go into it tomorrow. You don't like what he's saying. Yeah, what he's saying ain't jiving with how you want to move right now. It's not in congruence with what you've decided to do, okay? With how you've decided to move, okay? And you got your own ideas about stuff without no clue of what the Father's doing behind the scenes. You're making all of these decisions based on lack of knowledge. Instead of just knowing that he's good, instead of just understanding that he's got those things that you don't have under control, and all you have to do is walk this thing out. Instead of understanding that, you putting all of this other stuff on it. You talking about all this other stuff and don't even know it's stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't even have knowledge of. You don't even have knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes. He's done some things, already done some things behind the scene, but your refusal to hear what he's saying has put you in a position of missing a moment. There are things that he's already done that you will miss because you are trying to figure it out instead of just following the instructions that he gives. Following the direction that he's leading you. Oh no, I can't do that because of this. Or I can't do that because of this. Would you just follow the instructions that he's given? It might not only just save your life, it might save the life of many others. If you could just follow the instructions that he's given. It's simple, y'all. We're coming back to this tomorrow, spiritual schizophrenia. We are still going to be talking about Babylon, but we're talking about cutting the umbilical cord tomorrow. Okay. Today we're just sharing just a brief on Babylon and what it is, that it is the mystery of confusion, that is the confusion by mixing. Okay. We're going to talk about the horror of Babylon tomorrow. Okay. And how to come out of her and who her is and what her has done. Okay. I sound like one of my grandsons. Always, he's putting that pronoun in the wrong spot. And I'd be like, it's she, not her. It's not her, it's she. Okay? It's not that, it's this. So I love y'all. And Sonny, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on. That was a Bishop Andre Woods. I'm saying Sonny because that's who he is to me. It's personal. It's personal. And y'all have no idea how much I appreciate, how much I honor you. It's a lot of people that are my seniors, in this season, but they have been in my fan club for a long time. They have been encouraging me my whole life in some way, shape, or form. Okay. And so absolutely understanding the assignment. And y'all have no idea how much that blesses me. I was talking to somebody on the phone this morning who sent something in my chat when I posted up something. I think they were on a video and I shared my video in my stories, and she was commenting on it, and what she said so blessed me. I mean, it literally brought tears to my eyes. There are people, y'all really make me cry. I be crying, I really do. And I know I seem really hard, but I'm really sensitive when it comes to relationships because I honor relationships. I'm so thankful for relationship. You understand what I'm saying? And so Bishop Woods, I just want you to know how much I honor and appreciate you for the man that you are and for how you have encouraged me throughout my life. You know, throughout my life, we don't talk all the time, but every time you're saying something, it's to say, go ahead, do what you're doing. Go ahead, honey. Go ahead, baby girl. Go on and do it. Go ahead and do that. And I appreciate that. Elder, you're the same. But I'm talking about the people that have been around me for a very long time, that have seen me from my youth. That so blesses me when y'all come into these lives and y'all have something to say and you in the back chats saying stuff to me and you encouraging me. That blesses my whole life, I promise you. So it don't matter who's against me. It's people that have seen me from childhood on up that's still encouraging me, that's still saying, go get them. Okay, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to get them. All right, it's one of my songs on my new project that's coming out this year, Golden Brick Road. It's going to be amazing. It's not a church project, y'all, but it is a life project, and you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be something that your whole family can listen to. It's going to be amazing. The Golden Brick Road. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Listen, I got some stuff coming up in the city of Detroit with my brother, Apostle Cedric, and we're going to be doing a tour in Michigan, actually. So, Sonny, if you, Bishop Woods, if you're available, I would love for you to come out. I'll send you the information for the west side and the east side of Detroit. But we're going all the way up to, I believe, Port Huron. If I'm not mistaken, Flint. I think we're going to Flint. I think we're going to Port Huron. All of that's going to come out this week, so I'll share it on my page. But it's going to be dynamic. We're speaking to leaders. So if you guys have leadership that you need to be trained, that you want to come into covenant, a better covenant with, bring them to this time, because we're going to be speaking to the relationship. We're going to be building a bridge between the leadership and the rest of the hand. You know, there's the pastor, the teacher, the apostle, the prophet, and the evangelist. And so you need the hand of God available to you. You need the hand of God in your ministry. You need the hand of God, and that's all of the different mantles operating and functioning under the same roof. But there is a cohesiveness that the Father desires to bring to His people, so that we can function properly, so that we can harvest the souls, not for your church sake, but for the kingdom's sake. Hello, not for your church, but for the kingdom. So if you on kingdom stuff, listen. Let's do it. I promise you, let's do it. But bring your leaders, because we really want to speak to the leadership dynamic and the dynamic between the principal leader and the rest of the hand, so that those things can be cohesive and the work of the ministry can be done effectively. And you can go through those effectual doors in this season to meet the needs of the people. So I'm excited about that. And we also have coming up, like tomorrow we'll be here for Spiritual Schizophrenia, the last installment. That's going to be exciting. One of these children has turned on the air because they're playing. I don't understand how you touching the air and you don't pay no bills. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm sitting here freezing because somebody done turned on the air because they're running and playing and they hot. I'm not hot. I'm cold now. Daddy, I love you. I love you more. Tell your brother to come turn that air off. Thank you. Whole throat scratchy and everything because I'm sitting under an air conditioner. I'm not ready for air yet. It ain't that hot. So, but I got some other things coming up. Turn the air off, please. Thank you. Disruptors Conference. I'm going to post it up again because I don't remember right now when Disruptors is. I think it's in July. Disruptors Conference is coming. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live, but I know it's going to be virtual and it's going to be amazing. Daddy. Yes, honey. Okay. Oh, Shannon said Granny cute. Okay, tell him thank you. All right. These children are funny. Listen, Disruptors Conference is coming up, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to have several leaders with me. We're going to be covering topics such as health. You guys need this. I'm going to be bringing someone in who was healed from cancer, a very rare stage of cancer. We're going to be sharing some secrets about health and how to tap into your healthy place, okay? We're going to be talking about freedom Prayerfully, my brother is going to come on and we're going to share some things. I'm going to share some things that you have not heard me talk about, things I've been studying for some time. And now I feel like I'm coming into a place where these things are becoming very cohesive. So I'm going to begin to share some things about freedom, not just from a spiritual, right? Not just from a spiritual, thank you, sister, not just from a spiritual point of view, but from a natural point of view. There are some things that are happening to you naturally that you are not knowledgeable about, that you need to come into the knowledge of, because it's going to make a difference in how you live. If you understand what's being done to you, then you'll understand how you can come into the freedom that the Father has promised you, not just on a spiritual level, but on a natural level. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to have some conversations about wealth, okay? About the wealth factor and how you can come into the wealthy place. It's going to be phenomenal. Disruptors Conference 2022 is going to be absolutely amazing. I believe that this is an uprising. It's not a revival. We ain't doing revival. That's old technology. Disruptors Conference is an uprising. And behind Disruptors Conference, I believe in August, I'm doing a conference called, man, I don't even know why I put myself in this position where I'm about to be trying to tell y'all what I'm doing. And I don't even have it in front of me. This is a no-no. I don't do this. I don't do this. It's called, man, I'm about to tell you what it is. Give me a second, y'all, because I'm about to get off here. Y'all got time to ask the question if you got one. It is called I Love You More. I'm about to pull it up, y'all. Let me know if you got a question. I'm coming back. Also, okay, here it is. It's called Spiritual Phenomenon is what it's called. It's going to be amazing. It's an uprising regarding the supernatural. You guys are really okay with supernatural things, with signs and wonders as it pertains to entertainment. Granny's almost done. Give me a moment, please. Yeah, give me a moment, okay? We're cool with it as long as it's on TV. But what I want you to understand is that the Father's calling you to supernatural things. Okay? And in calling you to supernatural things, there's some phenomena, some signs, some wonders, and some miracles that should be taking place as a result of you coming into your proper place. Okay? Wow, I didn't notice that happened like that. Okay. That's cool. So, spiritual phenomena is about signs, wonders, and miracles, and it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be in August. Also, if you're desiring to partner with me in this season to assist me with doing the things that I'm doing, any of the things that I'm doing, make sure that you send that to the right place. Where you can support me in this season is at $, the number 1, and Rock Mogul. This is my Cash App. Send it there for now. I can move it to bank accounts and all of that. All right. That's where you can support me at in this season. I've got books that I'm working on right now. There have been a lot of interruptions, but I promise y'all, I'm going to get these books done in the next 2 months, if not less. I'm going to, at some point, go ahead and step out and do put myself in a position where you guys can pre-order them. Okay. But I really would love for you to support in this season what I'm doing, because we need the finances for what we're doing as far as the conference is concerned. I definitely want to be able to give the people that I'm asking to come and be a part of what I'm doing something. And so if you would love for this to come and you would love to see these things and hear these things, in addition to the things that I'm teaching you now, then I need your support in this season. You can't just keep expecting me to just keep running on fumes, right? I got to be able to make moves. Put the O next to the M, Danny. Put the O next to the M. Yeah, I got to be able to make moves. And if you are interested in partnering, then the partner is what helps me make the moves. You're helping me make moves by partnering with me, okay? So I'm excited about that. And like I said, the information for the Michigan tour is going to be up shortly this week or next week, because it's the 17th through the 21st of this month. Okay. And you guys will have that information. But those conferences are coming up. And I'm contemplating whether I'm going to do a live and a virtual. But I know for certain that I am doing a virtual. Okay. Because some of my guests are in other countries. Okay. So we want them to be able to participate, right? I would really love to do it live because I really miss being close to you guys. I really miss being in the same room with you and being able to touch you and hug you, okay, and minister directly to you that way. So definitely um, would love your support in that way. So I'm going to get off here since y'all don't have no questions tonight. If you got questions, go ahead and put them in my DM, put them in the inbox, and I'll tackle them tomorrow. But until the next time we come together, I want you to know that you're blessed, and I don't want you to forget it. Also, remember our mantra: the body is not a me thing, it's a we thing. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow for the final installment of Spiritual Schizophrenia. All right. It's tomorrow. Cutting the umbilical cord of Babylon. All right. We come to disconnect. Did y'all see that little baby back there? We about to disconnect. This umbilical cord is about to be cut. There'll be no more connection to the things that we've had connection to in previous seasons. The cord is being cut. All right. Love y'all so much. I'll see you soon. Peace to your house.